just introduce the show and then we'll get going full speed ahead because we got a lot to go through. So, welcome to Overwatch. Welcome to another episode of Probing the Many. Today we are going to go ahead and look at the finals. We're going to be doing a big episode on the finals. I'll probably split this in two for the YouTube VOD, so I'll probably like cut it from day one and day two, just to make the VOD not like 5 hours long and make it more manageable. So you're not spending all day watching one VOD because I'm polite like that. Okay. The reason why I started stuff on the screen is because you can actually see me. You can actually see me, Miska, and I think Ryan as well. So there's me, right, in the UK hat. Okay, you see this blue fuzzy thing like here? That's Miska, and that's Ryan. Okay, so we were literally like smack bang in the middle of the crowd, right? You could barely get better seats than us. We could see absolutely everything. It was really, really cool. I think Sty came and joined us later and like popped down here. I think Evie was over here. EVA was over here with a friend.
Josh, the OAMP 2
That's good stuff.
One who is doing some OAMP 1 OAMP 2ing. Owned.
Owned, indeed. Completely owned. Thank you, Studio Mind, for the 20 months of support. That is a very long time. Thank you for sticking with me. Good lord. I need to get that 2-year badge ready because I never expected that people would hang around with my bullshit for 2 years. Anyway, okay. So yeah, we're going to talk about the Grand Finals now. The Grand Finals Day 2 perhaps was a little bit disappointing. Day 1, though, I think was a lot more interesting. And a lot of people kind of, you know, the storyline that's come out of the finals was that London basically dominated. And I don't disagree with that storyline, but I do disagree with the fact that it was basically a walk on both days. Philly had some moments, had some gleams of sort of glory. I will say from like the little tidbits that I know that they went into day 2, Philadelphia, heavily demoralized. And so they basically, you know, they had a pretty rough mindset, especially towards the end of it. It was pretty clear that London was just outplaying them on all cylinders. So yeah, it's pretty hefty. Otherwise, yeah, it was one hell of an event. If you did make your way there, I met a couple of fans there that walked up and said hello. It was a massive pleasure. I'm sorry if I was a little bit busy. I do like to try and spend a little bit of time talking to people, but there was a lot, like, the events like this one, I spend half my time, like, on my phone going, where are you? I can't find you. And, like, at one point I had Miska's ticket so that Miska could get in. So I had to, like, find Miska and give him his ticket so he could actually get through the bloody door. Luckily, Josh Yang and one of the community guys managed to help him out with that and managed to at least get him through the door, but then I had to trade my stuff, right? That's what my events are like half the time. My phone is really shit Wi-Fi connectivity, so half the time it's like my connection's just dropped and I can't find people. Ugh. Where was this London team half this season? That is a very good question, Bamboozled. That is a very, very good question.
The graphic.
Let's turn this right down so it's not interrupting us. There's the map set, starting on Dorado. Yeah, it's like London had a really, really bad time. And there's some good interviews from Jack floating around out there that basically every team slumps, right? Jack Etienne, the guy who sort of runs Cloud9, he's run a couple of esports teams, right? As we get this lovely educational video. He's run a number of esports teams. He's familiar with the idea of a slump, okay? Slumps happen to teams. Slumps will come and go. London slumped on the middle of the season, like towards the end of the season, but pretty much around the middle. They've pretty much done a good job of securing themselves in the playoffs after Stage 1. Stage 2, they did pretty well. Stage 3, it started going wrong. And so they slumped at basically the right time because that let them basically spend all of Stage 3 and all of Stage 4 on the recovery. That was really nice for them. They managed to bring it back, and I do think that something about the Grand Finals, because one of the issues that I think London faces as a whole is that some of the players might get demotivated and might get burnt out. There is nothing like a big event like the Grand Finals for re-energizing people, for bringing that energy back into the team, for bringing that hunger back into the team, and for making those players want to play their best again. Birdring in specific, I'm sort of looking at here as a player who had a wrist injury, but also just seemed to suffer from slight issues in terms of his motivation overall, and his ability to perform wildly varied depending on that. The finals, however, woke a fire in these guys, and it was really good to see. Okay. Dorado, traditionally, London tend to look pretty good on. Philadelphia tend to be a little bit one note at the moment. They're running sort of, I call it the Philly comp. I know it's popped up in Korea more first, the sort of Korean contenders, this mono support comp that it's sort of bubbled its way through. I think Philadelphia was sort of the first team that really ran it. You can see that London are running it at the moment. That solo Mercy Generally, it's like some variation of tanks and then double sniper. They're going with the Roadhog, they're going with the Orisa, and they're going with the Diva, which makes perfect sense on this map. Hog Orisa, very potent on this map. Not a good positions to get some early kills, all good stuff. Diva very good at controlling like Kafara if that comes out, very good at also shutting down some of the spam coming in from enemy snipers. A lot of good power there with the Diva, so it's pretty nice. We'll see what Philly opt to run, but this is where no one sort of knew where this was going to go. I mean, the record, this is why sort of I think that Dorado was a little bit tricky to call, because, well, both their record is pretty similar overall. Okay. Philadelphia have looked pretty good on this meta as well, so it was a big thing to see, and like I was very excited to see Hotbar running Zarya on first point here. Like her Hotbar Zarya is insanely good, so it's something that you should always be aware of as a threat. First pick comes through. Let's take a look at where exactly that happened. Can't quite see where that happened. Might be Bedosin actually splits off from the team because he's not there in that group. I'm not seeing him anywhere, so maybe he split off. Maybe Bedosin was just watching the flanks. Which is kind of an interesting use of resources, if you think about it. Because you generally try and get that Hog Orisa set up, and you try and like put a halt here and pull people up. But instead it looks like Bedosin's elsewhere, just covering the flank angle, making sure that EQO can't get a free sort of sideline, can't catch people when they transition from this point round back to behind the first point. Nice little sort of adaptation. There you go. You can see him now moving back. So he was just watching that underpass. Whether this was scouted, because London and Philly did scrim a lot against each other apparently. Whether this is a result from scrims or whether this is just an adaptation to make sure they stop the hands are working, I don't know. But I imagine that this is just a nice little touch that they've added in. Hey, oh no.
Don't you just hate it when your cat wakes you up like this? Meow. Meow.
Oh no, she's doing it all.
Meow.
She's doing every single one of them, isn't she?
Meow. Meow. Meow.
No,
Meow.
I love it.
Meow.
Ryan and I
Meow.
met the most freaking
Meow.
amazing
Meow.
cat, the greatest
Meow.
of cats.
Meow.
I even tweeted
Meow.
a picture. Oh, jeez, she's
Meow.
still going. Thank you
Meow.
so much,
Meow.
Ryan, for
Meow.
this quality content that you could expect out of the numpties over at Overwatch Central. Yes, beautiful. No, we met the chillest cat. We met Max, and Max was just the coolest guy. There we go. There's Max. Boom. Look at Max. Look at Max's beautiful face and my horrible one. Max he had like 5 people petting him at one point and was just the most relaxed thing that I've ever seen. I've never seen a cat so relaxed. Does the cat have a jetpack? No, unfortunately. He just sort of laid down in the middle of a big crowd. Anyway, thank you, Ryan. Okay. Right. So, standard stuff so far now. Like, they're going to try and set up some angles. It's interesting to note that Birdring is still sort of on this low ground playing with the team. Just sort of a minor positioning thing. Interesting to note as well that Hotbar's sort of been very, very quiet. Like, Neptuno is building up very quickly. He's basically ahead of Nuss at the moment. So he's been gaining a lot of ultimate charge. I mean, this could give you a very nice early push, basically. Using this Valkyrie to crowbar forward and start pushing forward. That gives you a nice little edge. Oh, meow. Oh, emote when. Probably not for a while. There's some higher priority ones, I think, that would come first. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me to see Philly pushing up, and this is like, especially now that they secured this position, this is kind of where Philly want to be, right? If you look at their team comp structure, like these guys, pretty close range. So you want to get these tanks up close and personal with the enemy where possible, and then you want to allow these snipers, so EQO needs to be able to sort of get space here, while if Carpe is holding here, EQO needs to range out on the side. You don't want your snipers both in one position, you want them splitting up and spreading out. So they're managing to do this quite nicely. The early Valkyrie's coming online for them. There will be a Valkyrie from London, but they should be able to like use this Valkyrie, leverage it maybe into 1 or 2 more ultimates, and then start winning out on the economy. So it's nice to see that Philly are like, they're not really getting kills, but they are taking ground, right? They haven't killed anyone yet, but they've pretty much pushed the point all the way towards the end of it. And now this is where EQO is going to be really dangerous. So you can see the Valkyries getting activated. They want to go aggressive with it, so they're going to start pushing this forward. And again, it's good patience coming up there. They've managed to get Prophet with a Venom Mine of all things. Where were you, Prophet? Where were you? I don't know. Can't see you. So I need the map. Oh, there he is. So he's just taking some Venom Mine damage, takes some incidental hits, maybe off Boombox there, I think, and then just the Venom Mine finishes him off. Where is Birdring during all of this? Let's try and spot him. This is why I need that goddamn map feature. He is nowhere at the moment. I think he's just hunting down Carpe in the backline. But the real threat here is like Hotbar especially has got set up and is you know, we looked at him about 10 seconds ago and he had like 20% charge. Now he has 90. This is the effect of getting your Reinhardt and Zarya into the enemy team as much as possible. It lets Hotbar sort of come alive, Shadows come alive. And now, well, Hotbar's outpacing Badosin, Shadow's outpacing Gesture in terms of building up ultimate charge. They're getting a lot done here. They're getting a hell of a lot done here. However, as someone that Philly and London were scrim partners for a lot of times during Stage 4 and possibly 3. Yes, I've also heard this. I believe it is true. So, yeah. Josh in Black Cat Diva cosplay. Oh, meow. You're playing with fire. This hurts me inside. Okay, EQO. That's not too bad. It does clear them out of this. I'll let this one go. EQO's Dragon Strikes are always a source of concern for me. I think in these first couple of maps he's fine, but the more he sort of gets pushed back against the wall, his Dragon Strikes tend to get sloppier and sloppier. He tends to just start spamming them out. This one seems okay because it's basically clearing the path. Like, you can use Dragon Strike for a couple of things. It can get you some guaranteed kills at times if people are out of position, but it can also just clear out a lot of space. And you don't want to let like an Orisa Hog sort of nestle up in this area. You want to force them out where Gesture is, out into the open, so then you can start basically pressing around them and start getting angles on them, getting into them and fighting them properly, rather than fighting them where they can use walls and line of sight and stuff like that and you're walking through choke points. You want these guys out in the open. So this Dragon Strike is basically just going to deny all this space. So that works fine. It almost gets Nuss as well. Which is good. Nuss managed to jump out, and oh look, now they're all vulnerable. You can even see Boomboxes going in there for the kill. Hotbar throws out a Graviton Surge. Okay, I mean, he might as well use it. I just think there might be a better place for it. I understand him wanting to use it here because he's probably not going to be staying on the Zarya. He's probably literally going to swap it now. Zarya is not very good when there's a lot of verticality. Dorado second has a lot of verticality. So you want to get rid of the Zarya as soon as possible. I imagine the Reinhardt will go away pretty soon as well, though they might want to keep him for the end of Dorado second. They're going to keep hold of him, I imagine, for the Ice Shadow just now. I think he's even run all the way ahead, yeah, so he can go and basically be a threat across the back here, so then you can start pushing into high ground, I went a bit Irish there. You can basically run across the top here, start pushing in through there, for example, and start contesting the high ground. Reinhardt's big weakness, of course, is that lack of mobility. So it all makes pretty good sense so far, and I like seeing this out of Shadow, where he's playing aggressively, he's playing offensively, and he is advancing forward. This is the sort of thing you want to be thinking about if you are playing Reinhardt on Dorado second, because you don't want to just be standing on the payload and feeling like a bit of a lump. Now, what's interesting here is that London see an opportunity, and because they lost that fight back here so late, right, one of the worst things that can happen to you is that you lose a point when it's on like 99%, and everyone wipes at 99%, because what that will do is it effectively gives the next team, and even though there's a little bit of a delay between point switchovers, it basically gives the team time to push through here. So you can see like the payload is already at this corner where my lovely icon is. So London are kind of on the back foot at the moment. They're trying to get the respawns out. They're trying to get into position. The one saving grace here is that there's like Carpe isn't set up to sort of cover the doors. Instead, he's sort of playing more down towards the statue. And this is what I think London Spitfire have spotted, that Carpe and Neptuno are both sort of isolated by this building down here to the left. So they're both just going to go straight for it. As you can see, they spot them out. Gesture leads the charge, and Carpe just gets sort of burnt down. They end up capturing Neptuno as a result, and Carpe. And like, that's just good seizing opportunity to spot him out. And now suddenly Philadelphia Fusion have to back off. Maybe a little bit overly greedy, maybe a little bit overly split up, but good opportunism from London. Interesting to see that there wasn't a punish on those two tanks as well, because it was basically just Gesture and Fury going in on their own and getting some good results for it. So, good to see. This is where London felt different. And it felt like they were playing more like Philly, and I loved seeing this, because the thing with double sniper comps is you need to have good sight lines, you need to have good angles, you need to have good reads on where the enemy's position, what the enemy is up to at any given time, right? You need to be able to see where the enemy's coming from and what they are doing. So if you rob them of that by just basically holding them at the spawn door, or as close to the spawn door as is safe, basically these narrow choke points here, and then even using like the walls over here, you can basically start just really pressing aggressively. And London do this. right? They sort of wait for cooldowns to come back online, and then they realize, okay, well, we have all these resources. We can see them coming back in. They use Infrasight. Notice they don't move until Infrasight is active, so they know where all the threats are. They know where they're looking as well. So they see, okay, well, everyone's looking this way. Prophet is now safe to come over here. Just very, very sort of clever. Tanks matching tanks, so Gesture and just trying to catch up Fury. And Prophet uses this opportunity just to slam a dragon. Again, the dragon is here to split the team. So it's going to like split people either this way or it's going to split people this way. And that's just good for London, right? If they split this way, then they can't see shit. You can't see shit through a dragon strike. So that's going to make EQO less effective. That's going to make Boombox less effective. The other alternative is they all run forward. Well, that's running into Gesture, that's running into Fury, that's running into all the damage they can do. They already have a crossfire set up on this position. The only weakness, I would say, is that Birdring probably doesn't have a good angle here. So they've got to be a little bit careful, a little bit aware of the fact that that angle isn't great. But there we go, Neptuno goes down. Right, team gets split off. You notice that the moment I resume the clip, half the team of Fusion ran back towards spawn. So that just leaves it as a 3-on-6. Instant win. It's not complicated. It's really not complicated, but it's elegant. And getting this sort of stuff working in game and getting risky strats working like this in game is a little bit trickier than it looks, right? That these sort of plays are a little bit risky because you are basically overextending intentionally, but they're doing it in a way that is controlled. They know what they're doing, they know what they're looking for, and they know what resources they're going to use. So it just becomes this very elegant little bit of a play that I really like. You can even see like EQO. This is where I worry about EQO. Where he's splitting off from the team, looking for an angle. They know that Prophet's in this area, surely. They have to know that Prophet's around here, because, I mean, they saw the dragon coming through. It's not difficult to work out where the Hanzo is, right? Maybe he's going to try and solo Prophet. Maybe he's thinks that Prophet's there on his own. But Nuss has been basically pocketing Prophet this entire series, and he's going to continue doing so. And my concern with stuff like this is, well, all it takes is Gesture just jumping here. Like, Gesture actually jumps in to basically take space and just occupy attention, so EQO is even more isolated, but honestly, he could have just jumped here as well and killed EQO. So you can see the Hanzo's having a duel, and they just spot, like, Gesture just occupies all his attention. He has Primal Rage, it's completely safe for him to do this, he's playing with Primal Rage, so it's pretty simple. And yeah, it just makes it look easy. And then this Dragon Strike comes out, and I don't think London were expecting this, because I certainly sure as hell wasn't. And I think it is like EQO's managed to sort of do the debated, because my god, he forced trance. Yeah, he probably did as well. Yeah, he's just jumped into the back. I mean, actually, I don't think he forced trance. I think like, it's more that they think they're losing the fight, so they trance. And so I think... Oh, no, what they do. So EQO dies, Boombox trances to get the res, I believe. Yeah. So Hanzo dies, Boombox ults, Neptuno goes in for the res. And then EQO does this sort of great debate, where everyone from London ends up funneling through this alleyway and he just puts a Dragon Strike through it. So this is really good damage control from Philly, of just like, okay, well, we're going to use these resources, we're going to use the trance to get the res off, and then we're going to use sort of as many ults as we need to start winning this fight. This 2k is more than enough to put them in a good position. They're just got to be careful, no one's contesting Birdring, that's a very dangerous position to be in. So you can see that London is still doing a good job. Fusion. That was Fusion works, but my brain was like, say Fury. I was like, no, it's Hotbar. Yeah, Hotbar peels off, finally contests Birdring, and they actually managed to take control at this point. So this is surprisingly resilient, and again, I think London were not expecting this kind of play to come out of Philly, that Philly would just keep fighting like this. But yeah, it works out great. Like, Boombox knows that he can trance to sort of guarantee the res, does just that, and they guarantee the res, get EQ up, London get out of position, get punished for it, and as a result, they lose the fight. So perhaps just a little bit too aggressive on thinking, yeah, we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this. Because it's this moment that they lose the fight, like where everyone piles into a single alleyway. And then once Birdring's contested, it's kind of all over. There we go. So you can see everyone's stuck. I do have a slight cold as well, I will warn. There seems to be a little bit of laggy, so my nose is a little bit stuffed up, and it's horrible, and it's gross, and my throat feels gross, so happy to share that with you. I didn't realize DJ Khaled. Let me tell you about DJ Khaled while I have a sip of coffee just to soothe my throat. DJ Khaled was terrible. Like, there was a group of people behind us that were kind of into it, like they kind of seemed to know his songs, but it was ironic more than anything. Like, they just kept shouting another one at him. He was awful. And I've heard the mix on Twitch, like, it was kind of like that in the venue, right? Where the audio mix on Twitch makes it sound like it was completely silent. There were a couple of people like going, but it was really, really quiet. And it was just like, get off the stage. The thing is, they had this DJ throughout the entire event. They had 2 DJs, one different one on each day. And those guys were great. They were getting the crowd moving. They were getting the crowd energized. And then DJ Kelly comes on and just kills the energy. Kills it completely. Terrible. Awful decision. Absolutely awful decision. Spicy bomb. I mean, Fusion is sort of becoming known for this. Like, London want to go aggressive on this one. London want to continue to hold this one in the sort of early choke points by the looks of things. So they know they have Transcendence. They know the enemy team doesn't. So that gives them a nice little advantage. So they're going to look for something on the back of this. I think Medoza ults here might maybe even to survive. I think he ults it just because he knows he's getting focused down by Sado. Like, this is the time when Sado's still playing with the team, which is sort of nice to see. So the bomb comes through, gets Profit. That's a huge start. London have already committed the Transcendence as well. Nuss doesn't seem to go for the res, just follows the team in. So their only DPS is Birdring. Like, this is a little bit worrying. Sure, Birdring's getting results, but he's also just like an isolated... One Widowmaker isn't going to be enough, right? You need more threats than that. You need something to pull attention away from that Widow. So, fight goes completely wrong. And sort of 2 separate spaces, I would say. Like, 1, the bomb gets a little bit lucky. And then 2, sort of the over-engage from London Spitfire. Sort of perfect storm, right? The Prophet dies at exactly the wrong time. Oh, spicy. Love it. And the other one is that Bedosin basically commits the Transcendence perhaps a touch early. You thought bringing him on was a good idea? It seems to be universally considered one of the worst concerts in an esports event that's ever happened. Like, people talk about deadmau5 at the International. DJ Khaled at the Overwatch League Finals is probably going to go down as worse. Deservedly so. So yeah, this is sort of interesting. Like, Sado just kind of gets away with this. This also could just be the weight of this Dragon Strike coming through. Remember that Dragon Strike occupies space, so if you put a Dragon Strike between, say, half a team and the other half of the team, well, this space is basically a no man's land. Sure, the tanks could try crashing through it, but you take a lot of damage. You want to be a little bit careful about that. So Sado spots the opportunity, goes in. He has ultimate as well. He can afford to do these sort of things, so he's more than happy to. Interesting to know that Fury is like going all the way around this long route. I keep saying Fury, hotbar. Like, he seems to be considering going through all the way through the back, but ends up not doing so. Fury cycles the ults, takes an arrow to the head, because why not? And there we go. Eventually, though... Oh, Sado goes down. So they sense victory, commit the ult, also guarantees the res. Simple. Bish bash bosh. Pretty straightforward. And again, just it's like how did EQO do that? I want to track EQO's ult charge it throughout this fight, because he dragons and then literally like 30 seconds later he's got another one. So Dragon Strike splits people off, traps the Mercy. Sado even bounces the Mercy back during a Guardian Angel there, which is nice. There's one kill, already on 50%. Literally 15 seconds later. So he's on pace, and then, okay, yeah, he's feeding off Gesture, basically. Discord Orb, Primal Rage, and Winston, kind of easy charge. No, actually, no, he doesn't get most of it there. He seems to just collect little bits of it here and there. He's just landing enough shots. He's just on 72% now, and it looks like the stagger here. Like, the stagger, people have sort of cottoned onto this, that you can do a really dirty stagger here on first and second point Dorado, where if you're fighting and contesting the point here, and they respawn down below, you'll see tanks instantly occupy position on the doorways. Instantly take position, especially on this one, because this one kind of just puts you behind the team anyway. So there's no good way to get sort of out and round. So you see teams doing this more now. They've been trying to do it for a while, but it feels like people have really worked it out now, where you just get this really filthy stagger that sort of gives you a huge advantage, where people get caught in this no man's land that kind of you're seeing now, and then you can even keep it going with stuff like this. It's just a little bit of a shame that they don't go and confirm the kill onto Nuss, because Nuss really was in danger. That was a bloody good dragon, though. Well, just bloody good play out of EQO. Like, he's taken a lot of shit for his performance in this, but the first couple of maps, this is why I sort of disagree. Oh, it's a stomp. Why are you reviewing a stomp? It's like, the first few maps, Philly were actually doing okay. Valkyrie gets the res, they're trying to set up the Widowmaker. If Philly can do this in one clean push, then it's kind of nice, but the thing with London is, like, losing the Widowmaker when you're moving on to third point isn't too big of a deal, because you generally are looking to swap that anyway, either to something like a Brigitte or to something like a Genji, something with mobility to sort of contest high grounds. So this is honestly fine for London, because Birdring can just then swap onto something that's a little bit more useful. The issue with Widowmaker on third is that basically the Winston, if you think about, like, you should think about, if you're playing Widowmaker, distance in terms of, like, Winston jumps. And so if you're one Winston jump away, then you're in danger, right? You got to sort of always be aware. And there's nowhere on that third point that you are not one Winston jump away from dying. So that's sort of how I think of it. That's how I contextualize position on this point. And it's a very, very good idea to keep that in mind. So it's all too easy for Gesture to do this, for example. And suddenly Carpe is neutralized, right? He can't do much about this, so they've got to play super careful. Both snipers connect with Birdring. A little bit unfortunate, but the tank's still alive. The healers are there supporting them. They're being hunted. They've got to back out. And so what you're hoping to find is, like, and you can even see Birdring sort of hanging around spawn. He's just probably got tab open. He's checking. Well, the enemy's running. They want to be able to counter it. There's the Brigitte coming out. So, bish bash bosh. Swap. Goes to the Widow, which I find very interesting. If it wasn't for Prophet Extreme Hero play on the first day, I don't think Philly would have been disheartened as they were. There were signs that, you know, there was a greater quality, but yeah, I think Philly did take it really hard to heart. But I think that a lot of it is also, like, Philly feel that second place is a massive victory anyway, right? Which isn't kind of the mentality you want going into a final. Don't get me wrong, second place is a big victory for them. This was a team that a lot of people were underrating going into the Overwatch League, and sort of when they started playing, everyone went, oh yeah, these are really good players, myself included. And yeah, it was good to see Philly get this far at the very least. But yeah, it's interesting to see the Widowmaker coming out here for the reasons that I mentioned, right? It's difficult for, like, if you think about the defensive Widow, and you've got to see Birdring, basically, he's going to play from, like, back here, okay, all the way back here, behind where I am, basically bouncing between that low ground and high ground position, and then just trying to catch people sort of along these angles. He's not really going to be playing up here. It's a little bit too dangerous, a little bit too contested. So he's mostly going to be playing from that sort of side angle. And that's quite clever. I think that's a little bit clever because it makes the positioning on the back of the payload a little bit more unsafe. So you can see that they're going to start pulling away. And the other thing is it makes it so that basically they can either commit resources to hunting him down, in which case he just bounces back up and moves to the team, or they got resources like they just ignore him and then suddenly he's going to be a threat constantly. So I believe that was what he was doing. Looks like he's actually trapped in spawn at the moment due to Sado camping him. Dragon Strike forces Trance. So there he is. Like this sort of positioning is what I'm talking about. Where he sort of this is extremely dangerous to deal with. Because if you think about it from the top, like you think about a top-down view and you think about where is safe, well, Birdring being here basically makes all of this space unsafe. You'll see Boombox react to that, where he has to like hide behind a pillar over here. Meanwhile, all of this space is also unsafe. So where's safe? Nowhere's safe. You know, you have to start doing things proactively to neutralize these threats. You have to sort of send someone off to go and deal with Birdring, who just jumps back up no problem, and now he's safe, right? The moment you start committing threats to that, okay, well, now the rest of London Spitfire are going to start pushing their way back out. And the Brigitte especially, she can only really contest like this space down here. So if Prophet's playing up here, Birdring's playing down here, then Brigitte's only really nursemating the tank. She's not really doing anything else. So it's pretty good. This mirror is really one of those teams that doesn't have a lot of personality. I disagree. They're one of the most aggressive playstyles in the Overwatch League. Maybe it's because I know Hayes and I know Boombox, but like Shadowburn definitely sort of has memes. They have their meme with the Sniller pillow. I think I would agree that like since they've started adding like Carpe's also like got a lot of personality to him, but like Sado and Hotbar haven't really had the time they need to sort of generate personalities in the Overwatch League, so they seem kind of quiet. Like Neptuno is one of the killiest mercies, for example. There's a lot of little tidbits that you can pick up. Fraggy, yeah, has a lot of personality to him as well. It's just not his meta. So this overtime engagement, just throw the kitchen sink at them, just diva bomb, gets to the point. Good block. Still not enough, but still gets gesture. That's a big old kill. Managed to get, they actually managed to bird ring. So gesture being down is actually a big deal. Like Winston's, it's always worth during overtime pushes to keep your eye on the Winston. The big point with the Winston is that you are looking for... he's basically going to be building up ultimate, because everyone is in a small, tight little environment. Okay, everyone's sort of surrounded around the point, so he's going to be building up ultimate charge very quickly, and then Primal Rage is just such a good ultimate for stalls. So if you can shut down the Winston nice and quick, nice and early, that puts you in a very, very good position for winning these overtime pushes. You really want to get that Winston out of the way, and so doing it with a Diva Bomb and getting a little bit lucky is a big deal. I believe it's a big contributor to, because now, well, most of the team's dead. Jesse just sort of comes out here on his own, and now he's just going to get burned down, right? You need other things interfering, keeping that Winston alive. You see that he already got 70% ultimate charge. If he was alive for a couple more seconds, he'd have Primal Rage. And suddenly this all gets very, very different. And they managed to do it. Overtime push. Philly fans are happy. Not going to be quite as happy as the game goes on. See, we don't see all this in the audience. Speaking of Fraggy, I think they might be having him use his off time in the meta to learn Hammond in preparation for what's next. I mean, the off time is, you got to remember, Overwatch League, I've heard rumors that it's going to be starting like February or March, right? It's gone for a while. What they'll be doing in the off season, I don't know. I imagine the player transfer window is open between Overwatch League teams now, so I've heard rumors of a couple of different bids, but my name isn't Slasher, I'm not a leaky boy, so I'm not going to share those. But basically teams, right, at the moment, teams are basically going to be looking to buy other players from other teams. So whether Fraggy gets moved, like teams are going to be looking to sell certain players, teams are going to be looking to buy certain other players. Just the sort of the nature of the beast. So keep an eye open for news on that one. Okay, so Philly running the mono support, triple tank. Feels like this comp needs a better name. London, interestingly, opting for the same thing but on offense. Again, Orisa Hog just very, very good for like pick power, and Gesture's Orisa is actually really, really good. Like, if you're looking to learn how to play a main tank, watching Gesture is a very good idea. Sol should have a few trades going on. I think every team probably is looking to trade a couple of players. There's certain players that they want, certain players that they don't want. I imagine London are looking to get some good cash, because, hey, you're the championship winning player. So again, just setting up two angles, pretty simple so far. Most of the team pushing through here using the Orisa Hog just to sort of bully their way in. Meanwhile, you have Prophet playing from the low ground, you have Birdring playing from the high ground. Normally you'd see the Hanzo go in here more, like you saw Carpe like playing from here. But you know, if Prophet's more comfortable pushing in through here, or maybe just creating a threat where he can just bounce over this wall, that's fine. But basically, as long as the two snipers are in separate places, you are okay. This is what you don't want, is what Birdring seems to be considering here, which is where he would run out into this doorway. But it looks like Prophet's alerted the team. Philly are overextending a little bit, so now, well, Birdring can actually do some stuff. Like, threats are in two separate locations, and I think there was a push... It might have been against London where this happened, where like the enemy team just ran out and Birdring just blew like a Tracer's head off because they tried chasing Prophet down. So maybe this is just how London are comfortable, where they always set Prophet almost as bait Like Prophet will just run back. There's a health pack over here if he really needs it, but honestly, you can probably get to the supports easily enough. You can probably get to Nuss early enough. You might run for the health pack anyway. He can also like just go this way, pick up a health pack on the way, and then bounce over. So he can play pretty independently. And then maybe they can get a pick off the back of it, or like a halt as people try and transition around. Whew. I would have liked it if Gesture got MVP. Gesture played really, really, really well, but I think Prophet did have a few more clutch moments. But you could make an argument for both of them. Gesture was phenomenal in the entire series. Like, simple. Really freaking simple. I mean, this is sort of the wages of this play, right? That Philly overextend, well, Gesture's sort of done a good job of, like, slowing them down on the sort of the traversal. They're trying to get back and trying to regroup, but you're trying to regroup in front of a Hogorisa. That's going to cause problems for you. Prophet's already got an ultimate. They might have just secured the hook during this time. It doesn't quite show it on camera, I believe. So yeah, it looks like Sado just ends up in a really bad position. Gets pulled off. Dragons clear space, and London can just walk in. Like, Gesture just runs in, basically. Hot Buzz in a terrible position. Can't even sort of survive as Mini Diva for any realistic amount of time, and then Bedosin can just run forward. Like, he doesn't need to worry about anything behind him. And this is dangerous, right? This is really dangerous, because you need that Widowmaker to try and control Birdring, to try and slow down the position that will be coming up next. So, basically, Birdring will be looking to just take position, going ahead, and control the exits of second. So you can see he's doing that just now. He's bouncing up, checking for the enemies. Luckily, Sado seems to be watching that side. Birdring seems to be favouring, like, this right side. He seems to like being over here. Because what you don't want to have is Birdring covering your exits. Because if he is, then he's probably going to kill Carpe again. So Gesture's doing what we call matching tanks, where he's just basically trying to bully Sado away. So the two instances are sort of pushing for space. Gesture clears this alleyway, and now Birdring can start moving in. But notice that Philly, like, remember London? London were playing defensively here. They were taking chances here. They were doing things here. But London just have all the initiative. Like, the wins that they got at the start or at the end of first, which was only really one fight, just give them the wages to start running forward here. So Philly, I'm going to try pushing out. Bomb goes in. Let's see how it goes. Hey, Miska.
Is this the British chain, other Northern Ryan Central, Pro OWL analysis stream?
That's the
Hub
one.
Champ.
Hello, Miska. How did your stream go? How did you find Hammond, Miska? Because I know you were doing your Miska League. Did he blow everyone's socks off, or was everyone just kind of which seems to be the over... Like, people have been discussing him on this stream chat, and the overall reaction seems to be So close with that bomb. Quite more coordination than, like, anything else. I think people will figure it out. Like, I think the ultimate is going to take a while to figure out as well. So again, a splitter dragon, basically going to try and isolate Hotbar, but there's just not enough there to finish him off. Still has too much defense matrix. Sado, again, just in a really isolated position, getting chased off, getting chased down by Nuss. I love this. I love this so much. Look at Nuss. Look at Nuss go. Nuss wants him. Nuss wants that kill. Like, Sado shouldn't be here. How have you done this, Sado? How have you got yourself in this place? He's just chasing Birdring around. Gets Birdring. Nuss, imagine, commits a Valkyrie. Yep, Valkyrie's going to keep him... Like, Winston is not going to stop a Valkyrie for Rez. So Rez just comes through. And then Sado just hangs around without Primal Rage. And then Nuss just goes and kills him. Lel. Maybe we'll get some changes later. Or maybe he'll end up in, like, Sombra territory where no one really knows what to do with him. Because once Sado's down, this point is basically done, right? You cannot stop Birdring playing however he wants. And this is the stall I was talking about. Gesture just holds this door and it's like... what can you do? What can you do aside from just feed 4 kills? You can see they're not even trying to kill EQO there. They're just stalling him. It's crazy. Because, like, third is brutal. And London are just completely taken over the first part of third without spending a Dragon Strike to do it, which is what Philly had to do. Right? London are just doing it. Interesting to see Philly still on the Widowmaker. Deal one goes in, engagement just goes round and over, Dosen even commits the trance. They want to go for a fight here. Boombox does the same. Again, Birdring loves this position, loves that position on the side. This was really cool by Gesture, because this is basically like, this is all... Like, EQO can't do shit from up here, right? Hanzo, kind of weak from super long range. Like, shooting across this entire room, he's not going to be the best, especially when he's, like, sliding down stuff, because he's not getting, like, climbing, he's not doing anything, he's not in control of his movement during all of this. So it's going to make EQO's life impossible to do anything. So he's doing a good job of, like, stalling this up, because he basically just bounced him on this roof twice. So now we're looking for changes. Ugh, my nose. Oh, that's disgusting. That's not what you want to see as a Zen. Just get trapped in the corner. Yeah. I mean, London still should feel fine. They got 4 minutes. It's sort of whatever. Especially because Sato's play without Primal Rage has been questionable. When he doesn't have Primal Rage, he seems to get caught out a lot. Good little Sonic Arrow on the point, and put a Dragon Strike through it. Managed to split the team, but no one's there to capitalize on this because you're playing double sniper, and they're behind the window. Gesture still getting away with murder here. There we go, they finally shut down Gesture. So you can see Carpe again, this position over here. Like, this is all you do with this Widowmaker, okay? The moment someone comes to counter you, you just bounce back up and you play it safe, and then you can just continue holding, like, top. Right? You don't have to worry about what's happening down below. And all this time, Birdring's just sort of watching, hoping that Carpe drops down. But Carpe's not going to drop down. Like, he knows that the infra sight's up. He's just going to hang up here. Or watch him drop down now. Like, he's even almost teasing him, just saying, yeah, Birdring, stand here and watch me. Don't do anything, Birdring. But London are playing around Prophet, and they were all series, which I think is a very good call at this point. Birdring's been seen to be unreliable, and Prophet is just very reliable, very solid. So you notice Nuss is basically glued to his bumhole. So again, good Sonic, good old Dragon Strike is going to keep people contained in spawn. Means that people can move in, they can maybe get a kill or two here. That's going to make it really easy to stall out the end of this map. Force out the Transcendence, that's a huge advantage because, well, London know that in the next fight they're probably going to have Trance, right? Even if they lose this one, they know they've got a Transcendence for the next fight. Which gives you a really easy win condition. It basically means Philly have to do something about that. They have to react to that Transcendence. They have to pressure Badosin. They have to do something to get Badosin's Transcendence out. If they don't, then they're just going to get run over on the point. Especially now that, okay, Brigitte appeared for a second and then vanished. Okay, they're just changing everything up. It's interesting to me to see, like, Birdring just picks up the hands and Prophet takes up the Brigitte. Again, maybe they're just more comfortable on it. I know Birdring tends to play more independent on the team as well, which is kind of what you need at the moment. Hanzo better on this point than Widow because you just want that mid-range strength. So it looks like Philly are doing just that, right? They're holding close. Play super aggressive. They throw a Dragon Strike, probably at Badosin. Forces out the Valkyrie just to keep people alive. You can see that they want to play, like, they want them to use ults just to get through the door. They want them really to use this. They really want to get rid of this. Because if they don't, then they're in trouble. Or they can stall it out, right? And give Boombox enough time to build up another one. Which Boombox is doing a really good job of doing, by the way. I believe it's like this. This is one of the best Hanzo players in the world. Hanzo, ladies and gentlemen. Hanzo. Just loathe it. I loathe it so much. If I fire enough arrows, it's gonna kill him. Ugh. That happens about 5 times in this entire thing, by the way. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Okay.
Welcome to
Philly had
Overwatch,
done it.
Monsieur.
Like they've achieved their objective. Hey!
Oh, that's where the money were going to. Hi Domo.
Hi, Domo. Hello. I don't know what that means, by the way. Thank you, Q. Thank you so much. Right. So yeah, Philly have done it. Like they achieved their objective. Right? Equalize this. Make sure that this is not uneven as I draw a smiley face on the screen. Mr. X does a good job on the cast here of highlighting that they no longer have that advantage to the Transcendence. Big ultimate. They can try and use the Trance to res. It looks like Neptuno's just going to go for it. It's in a safe enough place behind the payload so they can do it, which is fine. Basically playing Zenyatta Chicken at the moment, and you can see London, they want to pressure Boombox's ult. Got it, okay. Now they've re-established that victory condition that I was talking about before. They even get another dragon out of EQO because he's managed to build up another one. Another one. That term is going to be ruined for me. I think Jess maybe should just bounce out here, but it looks like they just want to go straight on the counter push. Dragon Strike, again, Neptuno kind of just floats into it, unfortunately. London do a really good job throughout this fight of just not using stuff. Sounds like a weird thing to say, but they are just being very, very calm, getting away with as much as they can, stretching these resources as much as they can to make Philadelphia use stuff. Philadelphia have now committed 3 ultimates to the fight. London committed 2. That's fine. Like, that's an advantage to London, because now they can spring back into the next fight and they have more ults. They might even have some extra armor as well. So Dragon Strike comes through, pushes them back, and they can play this as aggressively as they like. Neptuno, unfortunately, gets the short end of a stick. They still have this. They still have this ultimate. Don't think they can res him, though, unfortunately. It's where you might even see Boombox like swat to Moira, for example. Right? Just for that emergency healing. So Nurse Valkyries, this is giving time for Bedosen to get back, by the way. Another Dragon Strike, because Hanzo is broken. Big kill onto Fury. A lot of big kills coming out of Philly. This is where, as a London fan, you were squeaky bum time. But remember that Transcendence that we've been following this entire time? Oh, look, it's reared its ugly head. Boombox almost has his again, though. Oh. 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 And you're like, huh. Philly managed to do it. Just try and find the precise moment where it all goes wrong. And it might just be this dragon. This dragon might be the thing that does it. Because what this dragon does, again, zoning, splits the team. But you got to remember that Carpe's been here this entire time. Okay, Carpe wants to set up here and just shoot and shoot and shoot. But he can't do it because Fury's been blocking him. Except this dragon comes through and suddenly all of London have to back away. They have to back away. They can't stay here because these guys are split off. They're not going to be getting enough healing. So Fury ends up taking a lot of damage. Carpe pops back out, starts putting damage into Fury. Fury gets burnt down. Bedosen not being there now is causing serious issues because they needed that healing. They needed that Transcendence to keep them alive through all this. Either one's going to split them off even further. Carpe's still free to do what he wants. Manages to catch Fury. And you can see Carpe's set up in position. He's just going to be landing shots. EQO is just brawling on the point. And by the time this comes in, Gesture being dead especially, again, highlighting Winston's 96%. If that trance came in a second earlier and saved him, big difference. Big, big difference. Because now there's no DPS left. Okay. Sponsors. So during this time, this is where we get like a DJ in the thing. I wonder if there's any shots of where we were. I think this is further back than where we were. Ah, you can see my hat. I am right there.
Welcome to Overwatch.
That blue blob there, that's me.
Have you been thinking of names? You said you'd take responsibility.
It says 3 months. It says 3 months activity. Oh no, I know it's long. No, it's your job to come up with the names of any stream babs. But yeah, I had a big old blue hat on. Oh right, this is where they were doing like a guess the. Okay, so you see this? They were doing like a guess the map thing. Okay, and like they showed a picture. I think they haven't even. There we go. They showed like this picture, and I think Ryan or I think it was Miska that instantly kind of went Horizon. It's like, well, and then they showed this, and it's just like, yeah, that's Horizon. And this is like because they had like 2 contestants playing it. It's just like, yep. Like that's a Horizon, and then it's like zoom it out further. It's like, yeah, that's still Horizon. Zoom out further, yeah, that's definitely Horizon. It's like, huh, yeah, I wonder what map this could be. So there we go, and then they zoom all the way out. Beautiful. Name that map. Yeah, I think she won a Solitary Stick statue for it. This thing I'm convinced is a hoax. They had like a thing that you had to like cheer for it. It's just a video. It's just a video. It's not, like everyone could be silent and it'd still go to 100%. I'm positive. Because I'm the sort of person that would just like try and organize the crowd to just be silent during that, just so it, you know, either sits at 0% or it just does it anyway. Oh, comms, spicy Philadelphia, organized comms. Let's listen in. I want to make sure you guys can hear this, so let me crank it all the way up. Oh, don't see 9, don't see 9, don't see 9. Nice. They're all shouting. They are all shouting. Be fair, like, it was still pretty uniform. Like it was like, oh, the Winston, stuff like that. Although someone was really screaming, "Get the Widow! Get the Widow!" I love Mitch's suit. I kind of wanted to tweet something like, you know, the only thing louder than the crowd is Mitch's suit, but Mitch's suit isn't that loud. It's just, it looks like some old lady's curtains, but it does suit him. Like, it's a really good suit. And I think Mr. X's suit as well, like the pink suit, looks really good. Yeah, I think old woman's curtains. And old goth lady's curtains. so 80s. Well, he's from Australia. Australia's still in the 80s. Alright. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Oasis. I'll still never get over the fact that one of the call-outs on this map is Dildo, which is the middle thing in City Center. Pro teams call that Dildo, and that kills me every time. Every time. How do you feel that Overwatch think it's a better tutorial than in the game itself? Unsurprised, but slightly sad, basically. I think there is no coincidence that a lot of patches and a lot of new updates have sort of started being pushed as the Overwatch League season ramped down. Why Dildo? Yeah, we go to City Center. I'll show it off there. But yeah, they call it Dildo. So you'll probably never get one of those Dolby Atmos listen-ins on City Center because people shout like, "Monkey Dildo, Monkey Dildo." Pros are kids. You got to remember this. Pros are kids. So. Coffee. So let's take a look at the team comps. Just very quickly. Double support, Farah, unsurprising to see on this map. Just a lot of good control, a lot of good potential. Sometimes you'll see McCree's coming out, but it does feel like Hanzo is more the tank du jour. I like seeing this from Spitfire. There is a slight danger of sort of getting outmaneuvered with it, but this gives you a lot of what people are starting to term affectionately shield break. Okay, shield break is the idea of how much power do you have to break a shield. Like if your team wants to dedicate to breaking a Reinhardt barrier, how long does it take? Well, London Spitfire have better shield break than Philadelphia Fusion, so this actually gives London a lot of control. And because Gesture is a very, very, very good Orisa, he's very good at sort of bullying stuff like this. That said, I actually do like this from Philly because I think Hotbar has an incredible Zarya, an absolutely incredible Zarya. Also, the record is showing behind me. London's record on this map is traditionally abysmal. So if Genji or Hanzo ult at the dildo, does that make the call out bad dragon? Oh Jesus, that is don't Google that, kids. Don't Google that. Right. So it's some interesting little bit of a random shots coming out of EQO there, but he gets it together, pulls it together. Good bubble out of Hopper. Like, this is good, but this is sort of really nice discipline, I think. This is where I wish we had, because I know they're teasing like, oh, you can maybe watch single player cams. Like, please, for the love of God, I want to see what Hopper sees. Because he might have just saved his projected barrier all this time, right? He's not, you know, when I talk about coaching the many in Zarya, I talk about like the three phases, the idea of building, maintaining, and then ultimate. Hotbar is just basically playing purely defensively at the moment. He's just playing completely around the idea that there is going to be a halt or a hook. Play defensively, save whoever gets hooked, and then try and build charge off that. Prophet's done a really good job here. Notice that EQO can't actually get around this corner because Prophet has taken this corner, which has actually allowed Bedosin to actually set up on the side ground. Like, if Prophet wasn't here by this corner, Bedosin wouldn't be safe up there. EQO could just come around, rocket him, and there'd be nothing that... Like, he would just be dead. Bedosin would be done. But because Prophet's holding this close to the corner, it's actually making it very, very difficult for EQO to get anything done. So he's just, like, shooting into the front of an Orisa barrier, which is not really what you want to be doing. He does eventually do some spicy shooting, though. Ho! Ho, ho, ho! Oh, the read is beautiful. How's Valkyrie? Does still play Farah? Valkyrie still plays Farah. Vlakia. No, that's like Romanian Valk. Prophet comes back, don't just kill him. How did they get this res off? How does Nuss get away with this? He just goes and reses him. I mean, they use this opportunity to push Gesture out, which is correct. Like, Gesture has to fortify, run away. He still has his cooldown, which like is good on him, so he survives a really long time. But this gives them enough time to get Prophet back up, which is a big deal, because Prophet's a really goddamn good player. They do have to be very careful, though. Hotbar is a scary, scary person. This is... This is where I wish they would let storylines play out. Like, this is where spectating Overwatch is extremely difficult, okay? But they're generally very good at this. I think there was just a little bit of nerves going into the finals or something, because sometimes they'll do camera switches like this where they don't let a storyline complete, where we're following Hotbar, and then we see this, and like this, suddenly we have like a story, you know, you have like a fight happening, okay? This is like spectator training, I suppose. You have a fight happening now, where I'm invested in seeing if Hotbar can, like, if Hotbar dies here, that's a really big deal, because he's on such high charge. So if this hook that comes through lands, that's a really big deal. So I want to see the end of this hook. But before we see the camera toggles away, and we see the kill on EQO, which is fair enough, and then it goes straight back, and we see that Hotbar is dead. Like, I just wanted to see the end of that playthrough. After Fury's killed him, then by all means swap to whatever, but I need to see the end of that play. Because they still have control of the high ground, right? Like, that's the crazy part. Like, despite the rough start, they just spring back. And so, as a result of trying to follow two storylines at once, we kind of follow neither. You know, we kind of see, okay, well, EQO's died up there, Hotbar's died down here. We kind of get a feel for what's happening, but not a really good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Do you play the, Orisa of your own and try and just push on in, just shielding forward, playing the
I don't think they're going to change this up. Like they're discussing it on the cast at the moment. You know, should they change? I think they're going to at least try for a single grab. If they can basically spend the next push pressuring Bedosin and force Bedosin to trance, then they'll be in a really good position to go forward. And there's still like the only good answer to deal with this far is profit, basically. But this is what they've got to be careful. This is why I was talking about shield break a lot. What's interesting as well is like London are not playing this traditionally. Like Fury is not playing this comp how you would expect it to be played. He's actually playing a little bit more subtle and clever. Maybe they've already used the Orisa Hulk, but you can see that, okay, well, if Shadow wants to hide in here, they just leave Gesture on the point and Fury just goes and flanks. Because you don't actually need to hook the Reinhardt in if you're just going to shoot him in the back, basically. So Shadow just ends up way out of position, like he's so far ahead in no man's land. Fury comes in behind him and just kills him. Where's this damage come from? Shot there, big hit there, kill. Right? He's not doing the Orisa Hog thing where you just stand behind a barrier fishing all day. He's proactively going and finding kills. He's proactively creating threats. And now they're just going to go aggressive. And again, this is really good because it's another fight where London are holding on to their victory condition. The victory condition at the moment is, well, we just need that Transcendence to counteract the grab. If they want to keep playing this comp, and especially if Shadow keeps overextending, that is fine. That is absolutely fine.
You will have some really strong ultimates coming up next, though. You're going to have
Count Vlakia von Farovic. I come to barrage your support, blah. Anyway, right. So let's see. Philly, they have a barrage. They almost have a grab. Hotbar's been relatively quiet. There is this kind of there is a thing with playing Zarya into Orisa that I've sort of heard, and I kind of understand, which is that basically Orisa barrier negates a huge amount of what Zarya wants to do. If you're playing against a Reinhardt, it's very easy to sort of bubble people and, you know, catch fire strikes or catch people as Reinhardt starts swinging. You can pressure and bully the Reinhardt down, find little ways to put shots in and stuff like that. When you're playing against an Orisa, you'll generally notice that the charge rate on the Zarya is a lot lower. Unless they can really, unless they're really playing aggressively and really get into them a lot, you'll notice that the Zarya tends to be very quiet. Like, we've been on this map for almost 100% now. Hotbar still hasn't built up one ultimate, which is unusual because Hotbar generally does it really quickly. But Gesture has been playing very carefully, very considerately, and Hotbar's been sort of stuck on this low ground point where most of the teams have been on this high ground point. So Hotbar's been really quiet during all of this. He had like that one moment on high charge where he could have pushed in, but then Fury just came up behind him, hooked him, killed him. So, like, this Zarya might be more and more questionable. Like, the more I look at it now, it's like, maybe they really did need to get rid of this area. Maybe they need to do something else, especially once London took control of this high ground place. The Zarya just becomes kind of dead weight, right? There's nothing the Zarya can shoot at. There's nothing the Zarya is really blocking. There's nothing the Zarya is really doing. If they had something more like a Winston Diva and you just go and pressure the high ground, or you play an Orisa Hog of your own and bully down theirs, maybe you can get something done here. But the Ryan Zarya seems to just be, like, they walk forward and the enemy's just shooting them from up here, like, completely safe. They can't pressure off here because you can't run the Reinhardt and Zarya up because he's going to get booped off, just shot down all the time, and basically London will just rotate round to the point. So like there's no threat here for London. Once they've established, there's nothing that's going to really push them away. So you can see kind of how quiet Hotbar is. Like, Hotbar's... What can Hotbar shoot? Right, look at this position. What can Hotbar shoot? You can only shoot Jessie, who's going to have another barrier and is fortified at the moment. You've got a Roadhog fishing for hooks on the sideline. And they're bullying Gesture, but that's all they're really doing is bullying Gesture. All the while, you have threats shooting from up here, shooting from up here. You've got one coming in from behind as well with Fury. It's a play that's almost designed to, like, you know, I have my Orisa counter command. It's a play that's designed to bait you into it. Once Hotbar does get into people, though, hey, that's working. So now it's a case of ignore everything I say. No, it's a really nice little conk blast coming from EQI that does this. Bedosin's a little bit too close, and then the conk blast lands, knocks him down. Okay, Hotbar gets the kill there. Now Hotbar has stuff to shoot. Now he can do things. And now London are in a position where they can actually be fought, right? That one knockdown has done enough to basically push London off the high ground, and now Hotbar can run in, and now Hotbar has things to shoot. He can shoot this, he can shoot this, he can shoot this. If they just stayed up here, Hotbar's kind of not doing anything, but he would probably just zone him out anyway. Like, there's been enough kills now. But London could also let this go. Like, they know that it's 99%. But they also know that, oh god, we haven't seen ults in a while. Oh dear. Time for some eco pushes, guys. Oh, hey, notice the change-ups. This makes me so happy to see from London. One of London's big weaknesses is that they tended to keep a hold of stuff for way too long. But instantly, London swap up what they're doing. The D.Va puts a lot of pressure on Hotbar, like it just makes it a lot harder to get those easy ults. They have to constantly be aware of this. They're going to just play from, you know, wherever they can find an angle, basically try and set up the high ground. They need to get rid of this Pharah, and like one of the truisms of Pharah is that pushing into Pharah is very dangerous. Pushing in with Pharah is very difficult. So it's kind of interesting to me to see that EQO just gets bullied out so much here. Like, how does this happen? Why is EQO so on the back foot here? Again, this could just be the weakness of this Zarya. Like, Hobbar's positioned all the way over here. Sadow's stuck down here on the low ground. Well, now London have 3 players on the high ground. That's really difficult to deal with for them. But I think EQO could probably just, like, bully Fury out, maybe just dump his barrage on them. Like, just kill them. But I guess they know that London are trying to play for ego as well, so... But this is dangerous to me because you're basically letting Profit inside. You're letting Profit come in. And if Profit comes in, then that's danger. Right? That's why this happens. So yeah, I don't understand why Philly aren't playing, like, here. Like, Mr. Mage mentions it in chat. Like, why aren't they playing from here? Why are they playing so defensively? You got the Reinhardt and Zarya. This is an agile comp with, like, you want to hold doors with Pharah, traditionally. Like, you want to have your Pharah floating, like, here or here. You have Grav, you have Barrage. I mean, they don't want to use the Grav, but you can probably use the Barrage. You can probably afford to use the Barrage. You've got a Dragon Strike as well to put with the Grav, like, whatever. You just keep hold of the Grav for as long as possible. There's no worry about dumping a Barrage of people. Instead, they just managed to get straight through here. I do agree with Sadow's play. I just wish Hotbar would probably be a little bit more aggressive here. Like, if they're going to let them through here, then by all means just catch the slow people over here. Like, Sadow shouldn't even be thinking about fire striking up here. I don't know what Sadow's doing here, basically. He's just sort of protecting nothing. He's doing nothing. And then he kind of realizes, oh wait, I can do things. He goes and does things. And it's good. And it works. Mostly. But, like, Philly just let themselves get surrounded there. Grav gets eaten. Lel. And it's like Philly was so worried about getting eco pushed that they just didn't do anything. That was really bad. Really bad. There's nothing really clever to say here. They just let them, like, half of London go through. So basically Nuss, Gesture, and Fury jump straight on through. And then the rest of London just walk through. And Sadow's just stood on the point. Hopper's just stood over here, not doing anything. EQO just backs away. Like, just go and engage this shit as hard as you can. I absolutely am fine with Profit just dumping a barrage on top of a tank's head, especially the Zarya, who's the consistent threat. Like, if you get rid of the Graviton Surge, one of the best ways to do that is kill the Zarya. And now, like, yeah, London just play aggro. That was really weird. Again, might be nerves. One of the things that is sort of very, very worth keeping in mind is that London is a team of veterans. Like, these guys have played in finals, they played in, like, the Apex finals, they played in that finals, like, I think it was, like, between 2 really cool-looking big towers, they had it all lit up, and it looked great in Korea. It was a beautiful venue. These guys are used to playing on a stage in front of a huge crowd. No one on Philly is, I believe. Not one of those players have played in front of an audience like this. Not one of these players have been on TV. There's the eat. This like makes me happy because Stylosa mentioned it to me because he spent day one he spent the first part of day one hanging out with some of the Cloud9 guys, and then he went and hung out with the devs, and he was mentioning like the devs spent half the time like going, that shouldn't look like that, making notes on the phones, and like I hope the devs are paying attention that this is impossible to see that something big happened, right? This is a big deal, okay? This is a Graviton Surge getting eaten. There should be some fanfare to that, right? Instead, it's impossible to see. It hurts, guys. It hurts. So Fusion was crushed by the stage pressure, perhaps. I know that Hayes mentioned it at one point that like they were making some bad decisions and stuff like that. Like it wasn't going to plan, so it could have just been the pressure.
We're gonna get to see Carpe play Tracer.
It definitely feels like London were hungrier, which kind of shows. So, London changed a bunch of things up, and like this is really, really interesting. This I think is one of the most interesting maps. So actually, we don't get to see City Center if I remember right. Like the Tracer Farah against this guy, and like London, maybe this is just scouting, maybe this is a result of scrims, but having the Brigitte when your enemy is running Tracer is a really big deal. Because Carpe is basically going to be nullified. Like, it's going to be so difficult for Carpe to do anything. Brigitte just makes it so hard.
The Murdering on the Widowmaker going to be your only damage dealer here. For the Philadelphia Fusion, they'll play, you know, two of the same tanks.
And so it's basically like the moment that London see this comp, they're probably thinking, okay, we're in a really good place now. We can just sort of play our game. And they're just going to take the time. The only thing that they can't do is take too much time, but they still have Bird Ring on the Widow, so that's going to put a threat onto the Farah. So it's not the case of, you know, sometimes I mention it where you're running these comps with Brigitte, that the Farah puts a clock on you. The idea that the Farah barrage is going to end that. That's more with Hanzos, less so with Widowmaker. Widowmaker is going to provide a threat to that Farah to be able to contest it, so yeah. After I'm enjoying watching your Bloodborne playthrough, great content, thank you so much. That will go on YouTube eventually. This is going to go on YouTube probably immediately after I'm done. I'll try and upload at least the first half of this straight away. And then the second half will go out tomorrow, and then more Hollow Knight will go on YouTube, then Bloodborne will eventually go on YouTube. You can see, like, Carpe doesn't know what to do with himself. Like, we've been on this map now for 20 seconds-ish. Carpe is on 10% ultra. Like, how often would you see this, right? 20 seconds into a game, fights started, Trace is still on 10% ultimate charge. This is just the effect of playing with this Brigitte, because he can't actually run in on the side flank here because he's so paranoid about, oh, well, if I run through this doorway, Brigitte just kills me. I can't do anything. He's stuck. And so, effectively, London are playing a 5 vs 6. Like, Carpe's done nothing the entire time. Now he finally connects, and oh, not quite enough, because it's triple support. It's too much healing. Alright, let's watch Birdring's hit points. Okay, Birdring taking damage, Oh, so much damage. Oh, it's back. Lel, Mercy's there, picks him up. Rocket's finally landing on Bedosin. Now you're worried and you're thinking, huh, okay. But it's still, like, you notice, again, Carpe playing so carefully. So carefully. He blinks in. Oh, shit, I can't be here. Instantly has to recall. This, you know, I don't know what prompted London to run this comp. This is good hunting, by the way. This, like, Gesture just gets a little bit isolated here. Discord orb on him. This is an easy kill. There's nothing Gesture can do here. So this is a kill they really needed, really badly. So the moment they start getting split up, this starts falling apart. Like, the moment Carpe can play, this is where it gets dangerous, and this is where it starts getting tough. I think Carpe needs to get off this Tracer. He can start playing like Harassian aggressively now. Yeah.
Welcome to Overwatch, Marcelin.
Grand finals and
thank you, Marcus. Enjoy your new icon.
Hype.
Damn straight hype. So aggro push is coming out. London want to engage. Valkyrie on both sides. Hey, good stuff. Carpe would have been better on. I wouldn't say. I'd say no to either of those, just because like the Reaper is too much of a gamble. Reaper's sort of making his way back into the game, but definitely not on this meta. It's just too much of a gamble. If London are running a Farah comp and you have a Reaper, you're just gonna lose, straight up.
Welcome to Overwatch, Marcelin.
I think you'll be fine on like a Hanzo or on Widow. Hey, thank you, Boyga. Boyga 84 as well. Good stuff. 13 months. That's a long goddamn time. I think Junkrat's one of those picks where it's like, in hindsight, yeah, the Junkrat would have worked great, but there's too many things that could go wrong with that pick. You already have the Farah for sort of that same role. This shouldn't happen, by the way. This should not be allowed to happen. Hey, Logos as well. Thank you so much.
This match was conflicting.
So do I.
I support both of these teams.
So do I. This is why. Okay, so I spent my entire time there wearing a big stupid blue hat. Okay, and this big stupid blue hat has a big Union Jack on it. Right, and the reason why I wore that is because I could technically support both teams. If Philly started winning, I'd be started going boombox, boombox, you know, cheering for the UK player. But London did pretty well, so I could just cheer for the UK team, made up of Koreans. Yeah, this should not happen. I think this is the moment where Philly fuck up. Because if you remember, well, Carpe is having a really hard time doing anything. And like Ikyo doesn't even die to anything like nothing. It's not like Widowmaker headshots him, right? He just gets sort of drilled down, focus, 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 focus. Neptuno goes off to heal someone else. I don't know where Neptuno goes. Like, why does Neptuno run? Because this just lets you, it's not burst damage, right? It's literally, I think, Fury and Gesture that kill him. And this is a disaster, because you, like, Neptuno is the kind of player to try and res this, but it's not going to be easy. And the moment that starts going wrong, the moment that pressure of that fire is gone, well, London can just play as a big ball and just kill everyone. Carpe can't do shit about him. So that's, like, it's just so weird to me to see Neptuno peel away from, like, the Pharah that is the linchpin of your defense in this comp. Lets him die.
In terms of control of a point. You figure they'd hang around longer. Yeah, but they did, I mean, they did hold on to a lot of their ultimates, as you can see.
Hey, overhead views.
They only had used one during that fight, so they do have a lot of ultimates to use here to take the point.
So EQO, like, this is a really nice use of the overhead view, because you can see that EQO is waiting to get in on an angle. So he's going to be looking for, you know, some sort of barrage, perhaps on Badosin. Sadow's also looking to set up a jump. Like, this will provide protection as well. Looks like they might have spotted him, because Badosin's looking for him. Yeah, so they spot him. So they want Badosin. But the Winston alone is never going to do this. You know, triple support is just going to eat you alive. This is all for nothing. They managed to push him onto the point, almost gets the bomb. Uncoordinated. Like, this is the sort of stuff that, you know, you start seeing this creep into Philly, where it's like, if you go back to the overhead, you can see the play that they're trying to set up, right? You can see it. Sadow's over here. Okay, Sado probably wants to jump on Badosin. Iko is going to come in. Sadow's going to cover a barrage. They blow up Badosin. Done. Really easy. Or maybe they get Nuss or something else. Like, they want to combine to blow something up, and then the rest of the team pushes in on front. Especially with Birdring over here, okay, Iko has, like, clear path. Instead, what ends up happening is Sado just kind of jumps in, pushes people around a little bit, and London just regroup, right? London just all come back in and regroup. Iko goes for a barrage with no protection, instantly countered, dead, and then, okay, well now the pressure of Iko is gone. There's no threat anywhere on the sky. And this started happening more and more and more as the series goes on, that Sado would just engage. And it hurts to see, because a lot of people are going, oh, Sado was throwing, Sado was doing so bad. He's had a really good season overall. Like, when you started seeing him play, it made sense of why they kept this guy on the books, despite him not being able to play for a super long time. He's a really good player, but this might be the language barrier. This might be the issue where his English isn't up to par, so they can't actually make a strategy with him, because now London can just take the time. Like, Carpe's not going to do shit here. You know, the Brigitte's just going to stop too much of that damage. Anytime that someone gets low, there's a heal pack for him. There's armor on the pass. And now Riley's come out. Tracer's does even less damage. He basically cuts the damage in half. It's not enough. And if you don't get that barrage combo working, if the barrage can't be used, then there's no point having the Pharah. So it all starts going really badly wrong here for Philly. Made me a lot happy to see the Widowmaker coming out. This was dirty. This was like perfect. I think this was just really nicely read. Maybe they, yeah, I think they just got the cooldowns out of Gesture. I think Gesture might have overcommitted here, because, yeah, so he bubbles here. So this is good reading by Hotbar. This is really good reading by Hotbar. Gesture bubbles, cooldown is done, jumps. Okay, Gesture can't do anything. Gesture's stuck, right? He doesn't have primal, he's got no cooldowns. Just throw the bomb at him, right? It's really kind of, it sounds so simple, but when you're in a game, like, how many of you, when you play the game, when you're playing an off-tank, when you're playing Diva, how many of you are tracking the enemy cooldowns and figuring out, okay, what can they do, what can't they do? Hotbar has played this game enough where he knows to read, okay, well, Gesture can't do anything about this position. Because if Hotbar throws this bomb and he has his bubble, well, then Gesture just bubbles it and everyone's fine. If he has jump, Gesture jumps away. Instead, he just gets the bomb, and, like, everyone is just stuck. Prophet almost dies as well, but he has his barrier. Like, Nuss needed to just hide behind Prophet. But that bomb is really, really good reads. And like, you want to know why pros are pros? It's stuff like that, and it's so easy for me to sit here after the fact and go, yeah, no, that's really clever. In game, figuring that stuff out is really, really tough. It's one of the things you'll notice higher level players do a lot, is they will monitor enemy cooldowns way more than lower level players do. Lower level players track their own stuff. High level players, they're comfortable enough with their own stuff that they can sort of go, I know that you can't do anything, so I'm going to do something. Really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. And I just sort of want to make sure that people appreciate the level of play that's happening there. Because it looks simple, and you might go, oh, well, I got unlucky. No, it's just really good reads. Really good reads and really good play. And this... The fact that London are even like still in this fight is insane. Because you're just like, London have lost 2 players. And the Brigitte barrier, like... How are London still in this fight? Okay, so London are 3 players down. People are coming back to life, Birdring's on the back foot. Still contesting, by the way. Birdring's now dead, Bedosen somehow killed Carpe. Still contesting. Still contesting. Still contesting. This is the power of the Brigitte, alright? She's keeping people alive during all of this. There's no focus on gesture. Remember what I was talking about with gesture? Oh look, Primal Rage. And when you see the Primal Rage come out and overtime's ticking down, this is a big problem. So you ask me, like, how exactly did Philly lose this fight? It feels like target focus isn't quite there. Like, the issue with the Widow on this map is that it's very difficult to sort of get angles on enemies when they start sort of turtling up a lot. And so, sure, you send Shadow pushes Birdring out, but during this time, like, this kill cannot be happening. Like, Philly need to be just coring out whatever London have, but they're not doing that. It just feels like they're not playing aggressively enough. They're not finding the kills enough. And maybe this is the problem with that. You know, we heard their comms. We heard how many people are shouting. Maybe Shadow's shouting about the Widowmaker. Maybe everyone's shouting about the Brigitte and the Diva and all this stuff all at once. It's all chaos. And so no one's focusing down the targets. No one's getting rid of what needs to be got rid of. And as a result, the respawns come through, run back in. They have ults. They use the ults, and impossibly, London come back from a 3-death deficit because of a lack of focus. Gotta get back to work now. We'll keep the stream open and rewatch it later. GSO thank you for the 5 bits. 5 whole bits. I'll recoup some of the losses of all the burgers I bought in New York. New York is amazing, by the way. Love that city. Really kind of want to go back at some point. Ah, the Widowmaker theme. This is Kirby, I believe.
Overall, we're doing pretty well, so we're just going to keep it up and try to get the win here today.
Well, I'm expecting you guys to
That's a really nice poster there.
Thank you very much for your time, Kirby. And you know, for the first time, I'm actually showing bias. I'm rooting for the Philadelphia Fusion. How many people at the Barclays Center are here with me? A lot.
Philly fans outnumbered London fans like 80% to 20. And Susie looking fab.
Any of our guys, and their map was more of a warm-up, possibly, and
first capture a payload and then escort it along a set. The attackers need to
loving the suits. Everyone was dressed up and it was great.
They scored when an attack nearby. To get moving
I just trip to your hometown. Are you from New York? New York was amazing. I loved it. The only downside was my legs hurt all trip because the moment I got off the plane, I got to the hotel, checked in my stuff, and then I met Sty outside the Barclays Center, and Sty was like, yeah, no, because Sty was there for like 4 days before I was. He landed on the 21st, I landed on the 25th. So I just landed, and he was like, yeah, you want to go around, like, I'll show you all the stuff, because he's been on like 3 tour buses, so he basically played tour guide for me the entire time. We walked from the Barclays Center to the Manhattan Bridge, across the Manhattan Bridge, and all around Lower Manhattan, like through Wall Street, through the Staten Island Ferry, all that kind of stuff. Had a good look around. And ever since that first day, my legs were killing me because we walked like 20,000 steps or some shit. but it was great. Like, everyone, I think, agreed that, like, New York feels like Europe, basically. It feels like a European city, because you've got buildings made of brick, they have actual architecture, they have, like, they have history there, they have, like, a real culture, that it feels like LA feels very false compared to that. Like, LA feels like it's, you know, a newborn babe. It's got nothing to it. Everything's made out of plywood. Everything feels fake. Everything's designed to be fake in New York. Not in New York. In LA. In New York, everything has like a realness to it, and I love that.
A lot like how Sideshow was talking about in the desk. Look at Fedosian on this map. So in the Diva here, they're gonna have. So
yeah, I would rate New York. Like, it was really good. Spicy comp coming out of Philly. Just kidding.
And okay, this is interesting. Philadelphia on offense. They're going to play 3 damage dealers at the start, so they're going to play.
So then, okay. London's comp, pretty standard. Philly's comp.
Will be playing Sombra. Damage dealer.
That's an interesting one. There we go, it swaps away. I was like, they don't play Sombra. I remembered this. I remember them doing it. Please swap the hands away. So there's a weird thing when you're watching it live, that you don't pick up a lot of the commentary stuff, and it all kind of, there's a different feel to it. I like feeling for a city visit Boston. My parents recommended me to go visit Boston as well. That Boston has that same vibe. So I do want to go see Boston. So yeah, Philly running a very similar comp. Boombox has been subbed out, so they're going to be running mono support for most of this. Like, there's no shock there. They're going to be running. They probably want to run, you know, mono support, triple tank where possible. Hotbar bringing out the Tracer. This has sort of been the secret weapon of Fusion, that Hopper can play Tracer. So they have like a triple DPS comp. Tracer here gives them some nice options. Basically, you can just send the Tracer in. She can probably get behind all this stuff pretty easily. One of the nice things about London's comp, though, is that they are running the Hanzo Pharah, which is, you know, if you're running a Widow in this map, you're going to struggle anyway, because like Hanzo's just better. Hotbar can definitely just go and press her out. Badgering's just going to activate like protection for this stuff. Thank you, Free Bridge 30. Welcome. Anyway, good to have you on board. Welcome to the many. Right, so yeah, Hotbar can basically, you know, try and pressure in. The Hanzo's going to just be bouncing that Tracer out a little bit. Like, Hanzo is a constant threat for a Tracer player, so that's going to make life a little bit tougher. The big battle that I've got my eyes on is the battle around this central pillar. Like, where can the Pharaohs get to? What can EQO do? What can Prophet do? A lot is determined by what these Pharaohs can do around this pillar. And at the moment, I'd say Prophet has control. Right, because Prophet is occupying basically this higher space, so being above is always going to be good for Pharah. There's an axiom I've heard in helicopter battles, of all things, I think it's from when I used to play a lot of Battlefield, which is that being above is always better. You need to be above the enemy helicopter. Same is true for Pharah battles. You want to be above the enemy Pharah. It's just way, way stronger a position. So EQO sort of loses that aerial control, bounces up, and oh, Bergering with a spicy shot. Gonna res it, no problem. Interesting not to see like a massive amount of aggression, but you can see that Prophet has constant angles. Like, he's constantly just dipping around and landing these rockets, and that's why he's getting kills like this, right? He's got that aerial control. He's got that position. These guys just need to hold on, and like the people on the ground just need to continue holding on, need to continue stalling out. Because all Prophet's going to do is going to bounce around here, fire some rockets in. Bounce around here, fire some rockets in. And if EQO can't do the same thing, well, London are going to inevitably win. So Philly need to make a play here. They need Hotbar to find something, they need Hotbar to do something, but because London are playing as this tight ball, there's no isolated target for them to do anything about. He can't do anything. When I go on a food tour for the US one day, I can recommend the food in New York. I remember talking, like, we were talking with one of the Uber drivers. I was in an Uber with Fish Sticks and Sham Man. And they were basically saying that anywhere you go to eat in New York is going to be good, because all the bad places shut down instantly. Like, they go out of business. So anywhere in New York is going to be good. And the food was fantastic. It was really great. I was going to say I'm fine with the dragon being used here, but I'm not fine with it being eaten. Got to respect that defense matrix. You need to be a step or two farther back. I'm fine with them using dragons to just, again, like, you put it here, split half the team off this way, split half the team off this way, go and kill everyone, but... Devoured. Yeah, now they should just be fine. Like, without that barrier there, it's kind of an inevitability. You need that barrier.
Here are the kills coming in from Hotba. It'll be Prophet using a rocket barrage. Quick
Prophet
look
throws the barrage in, sign that he wants to
This will
probably
be
swap.
Philadelphia's point to take.
Because something unusual happens here, and I remember when I was watching this, I was kind of in disbelief. So the EQO will stay on this Farah forever, pretty much. I think he stays on it throughout the entire thing. Maybe he swaps on third with it, if they get to third. I don't think they do. I remember being so tilted watching this, because, yeah, Prophet swaps up, Badosin swaps up. They're going to play like a really aggro dive style, Badosin on the Tracer. Kind of interesting. EQO's on this Farah. Now, Farah on second on Iconvolt. Like, I understand the urge to keep hold of the barrage. If you're going to do that, you try and use it first fight. Just barrage someone, kill a tank, kill something. Done. The issue with Farah on second is, I've talked about this a lot, but when the enemy team is defending from like a high ground position, and you're playing Farah, well, Farah flies up and you're basically just level with the enemy. That's not where you want to be. You need to be above the enemy. So all EQO is going to be able to do is sort of get on the same height as the enemy and then float around. There we go, Badosin swaps to Zen. I'm fine with Hotbird like trying to camp spawn. That's all cool. Honestly, I would like to see him be a little bit more patient because he will probably get Badosin in that case. But beautiful kill out of Badosin. And like, I think this is the point where if you are playing, if you're playing the Farah, you probably swap off the Farah at this point. Being honest, like EQO should probably consider swapping to Hanzo, swapping to something that is going to work better on this point. Like Carpe's gone Widow, EQO's still on this Farah. London playing a divey style comp, sort of swapped it back now to more sniper, triple support. Like, this is good. This is really nice. I like the fact that they're holding choke with it as well. Like, again, spotting out, okay, well, they want to run sniper, we're just going to pressure them. We're just going to hold them as close to the door as possible. We are just going to sit on this doorway and not let them through it. Basically, completely nullifies whatever Carpe wants to do. Carpe can't do anything. Right? Widowmaker is not useful when she's looking through this doorway. Right? And every time she tries to get through the doorway, well, Gesture is just there, stopping him up. Carpe has not had a good sight line for the last 20-30 seconds. Birdring gets a cheeky kill. Just playing super aggro. I love it. I love it so much because, like, when people complain, oh, Widowmaker is too powerful, like this sort of play, this is how you beat these Widows. I do agree that Widows perhaps are a touch overtuned, but like this is what you, this is how you do this shit. London is sort of running a clinic on it. Easy. Surprised it didn't spray. Dragon Strike, again, just diving in on that backline, just pushing people in. Sado ends up jumping back to try and save his team, ends up jumping into a Dragon Strike, dying. EQO is still on this Farah, has not managed to get through the choke point. It's just splash, like... Again, I talk about this a lot. Farah puts a time limit, generally, on triple support comps. The idea is you build up a barrage, then you find an opportunity, you dump the barrage on the enemy, and you kill one or two people. And that will sort of, you can't really out-heal the barrage's burst potential. But when EQO has been holding onto a barrage this long and hasn't managed to land it on anything, well, all he's doing is firing rockets in and charging support ults. Literally all he's doing. The only way that EQO gets a kill here is if he gets like 2 lucky rockets onto Badosin, who pretty much constantly has armor on him. Big bomb. They needed this desperately. Okay. London committing resources to sort of stall this one up. Slow this one down as much as possible. You can see Gesture still alive. Remember talking about Winston's. Stalling. Gesture's now able to stall even further. He can now play super aggro. Like, you see Gesture's jumping off into the backline, hunts down Neptuno, Primal Rage. This payload is going nowhere. You even get the res off. Like, this is ridiculous. Philly, again, started the fight with a 2k. But London are so good at stalling, and Philly feels so bad at killing stuff at the moment that it's been kind of irrelevant. EQO still has this barrage. He's now trying to push Birdring out. Like, he needs to just dump it on Gesture here. He needs to do something with it. But he's not doing anything with it. He's just floating around firing rockets at people. Okay, now he's pushed Birdring. Birdring Birdring gets pushed out here, and I think this is like the only time when Birdring dies. There we go. To anything that EQO does. EQO has managed to push
Welcome
Birdring
to
out, Carpe
Overwatch,
gets the kill.
Monsilly.
Hey, one's your shoulder.
I have a thing.
Shoulder? Soda. You do have a thing indeed. You have 10 months of a thing. Thank you so much for the 10 months of a thing. Another huge Poco bomb. Living up to his namesake. Bedosin has another Transcendence. This feels familiar, right? This is what happened last time. Where are the kills? Where's this barrage? Where's this mythical barrage? This is literally a repeat of the previous fight. The payload's barely moved. Where's this barrage? EQO killed himself with it. Literally just... He's had this barrage for so long. And just... Boop! Worth it? No, not in the slightest. Not worth it in the slightest. There we go. Mr. X called it as well. Like, it's actually hilarious. And it's like, for the love of God, there are now 10 seconds left and you've been spent most of it pissing about on this Farah. Gesture is... Like, Gesture's been able to get away with all this shit because no one can stop. Like, who's going to stop Gesture jumping into the back line? There's nothing to stop him. The Farah can't do it. The Widowmaker can't do it. EQO might be able to do it now, right? The Bagheera might be able to slow it up. Thank you, Last Assassin, as well. Very appreciated. It's a really big deal. It's a really, really big deal. Because, oh look, now Gesture's dying. Now they're actually doing stuff to stop Gesture. Is this the team that beat NYXL? This is the team that beat NYXL. It's just they have a habit, I think, of when they're pushed on the back foot. And again, this is why I think that stage experience is such a huge deal. Is because when it starts going wrong, it really, like, the high pressure situation, I think, starts getting to everybody. And instead of being just, oh, it's another week in Overwatch League, we're just playing on Overwatch League, we're used to this now, we've been doing it for like 40 matches, we can just regroup and change things up. People start making silly decisions. People don't start doing the same things that they normally do. I think EQO knows that he fucked up in that one. I think EQO knows that the Farah wasn't getting results, wasn't getting value, or he missed opportunities. He knows all this. But it's just like, you get that mental block, you get that panic when you're on a stage of this scale, when you're in front of a live audience, when you know that you're on TV. And it starts going wrong. I feel they could have stopped Gesture without a Reaper or anything other than Farah. I'd say with a Reaper, they just, like, Gesture wouldn't jump into it then quite as much. He would just be playing from high ground a lot more and then just bouncing into the back line. But yeah, like a Hanzo. Like a Hanzo alone would be enough. So yeah, this... Jesus, it's... I think Fusion get a lot stronger. The issue with Fusion getting stronger is that there's now like 7 months or something, 6 months until the next Overwatch League game. Team could be very different. Team could be very, very, very different. Like, oh, Arrow heard that it was difficult for teams to hear each other at clutch moments and was asking for boost. Thoughts? That's really bad if that's the case. Then yeah, they needed to do stuff. I thought about doing a review with Jane. Yes, of course. The issue will be sort of the logistics, and then if you'd be up for it. But yeah, I'd be absolutely down to doing a review with Jane. Like, I generally agree with a lot of what Jane says, so sometimes I don't. I've heard him say things that I go, I don't think that's quite right, and I'd love to, you know, I think me and Jane have very similar personalities as well. Like, we probably just enjoy discussing and arguing it out, so... you know, it would be very easy for me to be bitter about Jane, like, oh, he came in and he's done my shtick, he's also taken up the bald ginger bloke sort of role. But honestly, he's getting more people interested in competitive Overwatch, and that I am eternally grateful for. So I sort of had nothing but respect, I suppose. Like, he put in a lot of hard graft. Okay. The bald ginger bloke, yeah. We look similar enough. Like, especially if you look at his, like, emotes, like his emote, like, I can make that face. I'm literally kind of making it over here with our good friend Max, you know? I've had that picture open on my other monitor this entire time, and it's distracting the hell out of me. The year that Jane got picked up by field assistant coach, yes I did. It'll be a great opportunity for him. I imagine he won't be doing a huge amount in terms of coaching, but I've learned through like being on Team UK that being a fly on the wall when you're listening to like very intelligent players discussing stuff and intelligent coaches discussing stuff, you will learn so much. So you just like you will sponge in info. So like Jane is the kind of guy who will absorb that, like the same thing that I do with Team UK. I listen more than anything, and you learn a huge amount, such a huge amount. Right. So then, yeah, team comp, nothing too surprising about London. The only interesting thing I'd say is like Birdring playing on the Widow, but Birdring's really good at the Widow. You can play it. It puts a lot of pressure on EQO. It's gonna, again, that pillar control idea, that central pillar idea, it's gonna extend now. Birdring's gonna be able to keep EQO on the back foot more than anything. The rest of the team plays very similarly. Again, looking for the ball and chain combo, trying to hunt that one down. Pop. Ball and chain ends up going through. They manage to catch Hopper. Hopper uses cooldown, survives. They're starting to march through the choke point. Again, I like this out of like London Spitfire's hog play in general. Like the hogs just seem a lot more independent than other hogs. Bedosian seems freer to walk around, and it's like not playing so much around Gesture. Losing Gesture here is not the biggest deal because they can instantly trade it for Shadow, which they end up doing. Like when you're playing with a mono support comp and everyone is starting to drop this low, that's a problem. Res comes through, big deal. Res comes through on the opposite side. London sort of go, struggling. EQO again, slightly isolated. At least they're supporting him this time, right? Neptuno doesn't just fly off and leave him alone, so it works out. If they did that again, I would cry. Just streaming before midnight? I've been streaming at 7 o'clock pretty regularly, but there's a lot of Overwatch League to get through, so I want to start getting through it. I've been actually streaming from 7 o'clock most days now, but I've been playing Bloodborne, which has been a lot of fun. I still need to finish. Okay. So Spitfire just going to take it easy. Like, they know there's no rush. Oh! I like this position out of EQO. Like, just keep this in mind if you are looking to land Pharah. Like myself, I've been playing a bunch of Pharah lately. Holding here, especially when the enemy team is playing double sniper and want to just like slow grind through the choke point with something like Orisa Hog, playing close like this is actually a really nice little position because it's difficult for the sniper to get line of sight on you until you start pushing around, and then you can just instantly get a couple of cheeky rockets in. When they start pushing to the choke point, you should have a barrage ready. Just drop down low, barrage across the tanks, and you should be able to get a couple. So this works out quite nicely, and you can always just bounce towards the pillar when you need to. So just very, very simple positioning. Again, splitting dragon. This is where EQO looks good. That's what you want. Counter dragon is huge. This is one of the things that I think I'm noticing with teams, like especially watching this VOD, is that teams tend to get pulled into dragons and make dragons sort of. It's like it's almost like when you grav. Okay, you have like this situation in Overwatch when you throw out a grav and everyone runs at the grav and then everyone dies because all 6 of the enemy team just like shoot into you as everyone panics and runs into try and kill the grav. Like Reinhardt drops his barrier and everybody dies, right? That happens surprisingly often in Overwatch. Maybe not in Overwatch League, but it happens in Overwatch quite a lot. This seems to be happening with these dragon strikes, where a dragon strike will go through, get results, but they underestimate the fact that the enemy team also has one, and they just like everyone just gets like pulled in to this space. To try and like hunt down and kill London, and so Prophet just puts a dragon through that. So if you're the first dragon out of Carpe rather, is great, and Philly like go, okay, we can go aggressive now. Like let's deny the res, let's try and get some kills. But then Prophet just puts another dragon right through them as they start aggressing and gets some nice counters. Suddenly, well, anything could happen. Resistance gets seized, the bomb pretty good actually, pushes people out, pushes people around. Gesture gets killed because of it, basically. Good stuff. You and Jen are my favourite people to listen to for Overwatch analysis. You've both been very helpful. I'm glad. I noticed that when I popped up on Jane's stream, like a lot of people were like, hey, it's home. It's just good to see. At least people know who I am. Still, somehow.
Welcome to
Ugh.
Overwatch,
Hey, Super General
Marcel.
Guy.
You thought you could flee to America to avoid my own love, but you thought wrong.
No, I do genuinely like being in America. There's some nice things in America. The people, like American people, are very nice, especially towards a Brit. I think the accent helps. Thank you for 20 months of support, though. That's huge. Okay, spicy bar. Like this is where like I imagine Fury's like, come on, please. Like, because this could have been really good, but unfortunately it doesn't quite work out. It's still like good enough. The hook alone is enough. This is why I mentioned Hanzo on that second point take, where like America's nice. America's are pretty nice. Especially to tourists. They're curious. I think they view it as like a curiosity or something novel and new in their day. Why did Carpe Dragon at the end of last fight? Because they want to push him all the way to spawn, I think. I don't know, actually. It's a very good question. That's a weird one. That is actually a really weird one. It's a very Philadelphia thing to do, because that's a really big resource that he's just blown. Very good for pointing that out. I think he was just looking for an extra stagger kill, but honestly that's not worth it. Because this is where you want a dragon, right? You want the enemy team's pushing through a narrow choke point, you put a dragon strike in that, well, they can't get away with this shit anymore. This is why I was mentioning the Hanzo when Philly were pushing second, because Hanzo shreds tanks, right? He destroys them, especially with a bongo down. So one of the downsides of trading at this point is that basically London can get away with reses here. So trading Barrage, not a big deal. They can all run forward. Simple stuff. Oh, Neptuno. And now let's fly up, bully the Fire a bit, stall her out. And this is where you're like, please EQO, please. The Fire has not been for you today. Probably kill stragglers. There weren't any stragglers though, that's the thing. Like, and even then, like, you kill Gesture, you buy yourself 10 seconds. You still lose the next, like, you lose a big resource for the next fight. So this is where I was getting super excited, because it's like, holy shit, look at this team comp. Look at this team comp. Bedosin, Tracer, Prophet, Genji, Birdering, Hanzo, like, they are gonna just try and surround and kill, and you can see like how much of a problem this can cause straight away. Because Bedosin's just gonna do whatever he wants, non-stop. No one can control Bedosin on this team. And the moment that Bedosin finds an opening, he's just gonna smash through people. So I'm kind of glad to see Philly playing relatively tight, playing relatively together. They're looking for other opportunities, but this team comp feels like it's just a matter of time, and especially with the Dragon Strike coming in, like, they are going to get bullied out of this. And like, when these kills start coming through, you're just like, yeah, this is done. There's no comeback for this. And I think that just constant threat of that Tracer in the backline is just more than enough. Like, what's interesting to me is to see how much Prophet is playing from the front line. Like, that he's not sort of taking the high ground away, that they're not diving the Hanzo, for example. They're not bullying Carpe out. You can see that Carpe, like, you can barely make out the white line here. It probably isn't transcoding too well. But Carpe's up here, and he's looking this way. Like, he's trying to deal with Bedosin. So that leaves this, well, everyone's dealing with this shit. And he's not, like, don't get me wrong, Hanzo is good at pushing Tracers out, but if you're putting them in a 1 versus 1 situation where, like, the Hanzo is hunting the Tracer, then the Tracer's too agile, too mobile. You're not really going to stop Bedosin from just, like, blinking away, coming in back here, putting a ton of damage into a tank, and then the rest of the team engages and kills someone. So that's not going to be enough, and especially if they are going to try and hold like this, if a Dragon Strike comes online, and a Tracer comes in, deals damage, Dragon Strike comes through, pushes everyone around, like, that's going to be impossible to control. I don't know if you talked about it, but is Solo Mercy the you don't need healing if you kill them fast enough mentality? It's exactly that, yes. you like Hayes did an interview that I sat in with Overwatch Central, where he basically explained the comp, and the basic idea is this: the Zenyatta, like if you put a Zenyatta into this comp, what does Zen give you? Well, it gives you a little bit more healing, gives you a little bit better tank killing potential, some minor damage. By putting Roadhog in there, he gives you a lot of shield break, which means that you can blow shields away very quickly, gives you a lot of burst potential, gives you a lot of ability to kill people, more so than the Zenyatta actually gives you. So the Zenyatta is treated as being lower value. Now, you can make an argument with the changes being made here, like a Brigitte would probably actually fit in this team comp super well. Especially if you're like holding close and the enemy team isn't fighting for high ground, Brigitte would be astoundingly good here. Maybe instead of this Farah. Otherwise, yeah, that's sort of the idea behind these mono supports.
All that help pool of the tanks to stay alive. They just need to keep.
Because there's the damage coming in, and the moment that damage is there, Prophet can seize on it, go in on it, and now, once these kills come through, it is done. It is just done. And especially once London Spitfire start building up ults, especially that Dragon Blade, like tanks can survive the Dragon Blade, they can sort of manage it, but if Prophet manages to get on Neptuno, it's going to be game over. And like now they're going to be running into dive plate pieces, trying to contain them in spawn. I'm actually surprised by how little Birdring and Prophet are pushing in on this. Like, I like the fact that Bedosen's here and waiting. I wouldn't mind seeing Birdring a little bit more aggressively forward, or Prophet a little bit more aggressively forward here. Just catch a straggler on the way out and deal with that. It looks like Bedosen's just waiting. So close. Widow Tracer. Always a spicy duel, but huge kill. There's EQO's Barrage, EQO's Farah. I don't like the Farah here at all. So yeah. Why aren't they playing Bastion? He's the best tank for 8 seconds. I don't know if you guys watch Contenders Europe, but London's British Hurricane got knocked into trials by that. Am I on my feet during this? I think... Yeah. I think that's Ryan. Actually, no, I think we're more here. I think this might be Ryan. We were like over here. Actually, no, we were one further back. Can't see us, I think. We were like back here. I think we were back there. Really good seats, anyway. A little reserved area. I always feel like a bit of a douche sitting in a reserved area, but still, it's because we were there with the Blizzard EU influencers, and I basically got Ryan and Miskit in under that umbrella. That was an amazing Bastion. It was phenomenal. I'm tempted to do... no, tomorrow's coaching the many. It's tempting to do like that Contenders game tomorrow. The British Hurricane one. Is there a link? I'm sure there are clips of it. If I go to like Path to Pro. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, Overwatch Contenders, there we go. OW Path to Pro. I know they definitely clipped it. Because it was one of the craziest things you will see. So as we look for it... Bastion has the high ground. Copy link to tweet. Like, check this shit out. You want next level big brain plays? Let's pause this.
Look for it. Still getting high. He's got. Here comes the code.
Beautiful Twitter encoding, high quality. Just what you expect.
Lessen's going to top everyone up. Tank form for Casper, gets him height. He wants the best angle to take everyone out.
It's like,
everyone's hiding. They know to look for it. Still getting high. He's
come
going
on,
for a...
Twitter. God,
still getting high. He's going for a climb up the...
I think it's trying to bump up quality.
Lessen's going to top everyone up. Tank form for Casper, gets him height. He wants the
There
best
we go.
angle to take
Slightly
everyone out.
high quality now,
Hiding.
but yeah.
They know to look for it. Still getting
come
high.
on,
He's going
Twitter.
for a climb up the tower. No kills to be found.
Literally
Next,
gets on
taking
top
out
of the
the
lighthouse
from
and
Latex.
Bastion.
Happy cool, trying to take him out, but look at his position from Casper. It's so oppressive, and he's being pocketed. He's not been able to get on there for British Hurricane. So
It's just like,
with
what?
Them, they're not able to take him out.
What even is that? What? How?
Still getting high. He's going for
So yeah, he uses the
climb
Bastion
up
ult,
tower.
jumps all the way up the tower,
Nesh taking out the supercharger
and
from
then
Latex.
just sets up and
Happy
kills
cool,
everyone.
trying to take him out, but look at his position from Casper. It's so oppressive, and he's getting pocketed. He's not been able to get on there for British Hurricane. So titled with getting them, they're not able to take him out.
Like, this was a game 5. That was a game 5 in that series. It's insanity. I love it so much. This guy was a speed paint, but yeah. So this guy was like a speed painter. Did not rate it too much. Did not really blow me away. He was no DJ Khalid. They gave him the most boring. Yeah, he just like painted the logo. He could have done something more interesting. Like he could have like done Tracer's face or something. Or Golden Boy. You could tell that Golden Boy was loving the shit out of it. By the way, he did such a good job. I managed to watch some of the rehearsals, and it was really funny.
Are you from Long Island, right? That's really the same. He's just got the car pay pulled. Philadelphia, bad. Play 3 potentially.
Okay. Volskaya. This Volskaya. I have never seen anything like this. Yeah, I remember watching the rehearsals, and like Golden Boy comes out and he's just like, you know, welcome to my home in New York, crowd. Cheers, okay, going ahead. Because they were busy testing all the monitors and stuff. Like they had a really hard time getting all the monitors working. The production crew apparently was working like overnight to get everything looking good, and it still had a little bit of screen tearing here and there, but mostly it was running smoothly. Like by day 2 it was perfect. But yeah, I've already done a pro overanalyzed on this. It's on Stylosis' channel, so if you want to go and watch that one, that's fine. But this map was crazy. Okay, London running mono support. Arisa Hog, what they've been running this entire time. Good stuff. Philly just gonna scout it out. Like the most confusing thing to me is the Soldier 76, but I imagine they just want to fire a rocket or sprint out, fire a rocket, sprint back in, or he's just staying on something that no one's gonna play, because they instantly swap things up. Time for goats, right? Time for goats. Welcome to some EU quality Overwatch. Yeah, I really like the movement that they decide to take here. So the thing with goats is like let's explain goats. Goats has 2 power spikes. I've explained this before, I'll explain it again because it's very much worth covering. So this is like power, this is time. So the idea with goats is that you run out of spawn, and all the tanks use their tank cooldowns really early in a fight, and that gives you a really big power spike. Okay? Tank cooldowns are generally pretty powerful. Like if you look at what you got here, you got Fire Strike and Charge, you got Zarya Bubbles, you have Defense Matrix and Rockets. Like there's some really good kill potential, really good power potential, especially with like stun as well, things like that. So if everyone uses their cooldowns, there's a huge amount of power being generated. Compared to this, where like Widowmaker doesn't really have strong cooldowns, Hanzo has a pretty good one. Arisa's cooldown's kind of okay. Mercy doesn't really have good cooldowns. Like compared to Moira's and Lucio's, Mercy's cooldowns are kind of shit.
Welcome to Overwatch,
so it's a really big deal. Hey. She didn't sound quite right there, bless her. She really likes Batman. But the second power spike activates because you've got 3 tanks to heal. Moira charges ult super fast, and the second power spike comes in where you can play super aggro because you've got the extra damage from Moira or the healing from Moira. That gives you enough oomph to go and destroy the enemy team. The thing with Volskaya Industries is it is a very good map to do rotations on. Okay, so when one team goes one way, you go the other way, and you go around the point. This is worth paying attention to because you're going to see Philly, they run up here, and well, no one's over here, right? London have rotated, they sort of started out around here, and they moved everyone over here. Now, one of the issues with the GOATs is it doesn't have good vertical movement, doesn't have good vertical motion. So you can't, for example, get Reinhardt and Zarya onto the high ground over here. You just can't, right? You try and run round all the way around the outside, well, all these guys are just going to jump over here, and then they're going to jump over here, and then they're going to come out here, right? You aren't going to chase these guys down. Even with the Lucio, they just move vertically too well. So then, what does that mean? Well, it means that Philly are going to do the only thing they can do, which is they're going to sprint into Gesture and Badosin. The issue they're going to face is that their DPS gets split, and Prophet and Birdring can just do whatever the fuck they want. So let's watch this play out. Okay, so they'll wait, cooldowns come back online, let the barrier recharge, and then they run. They go in, speed boost, all the good stuff, whatever, straight in. And notice that half people are shooting Badosin, half the people are shooting Gesture, but nobody's dying. And like, I want you guys to watch the health bars, just ignore the screen, watch the health bars, okay? Gesture drop down, fortifies, healing, 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 Badosin, takes some damage, tanks are hitting him, half hit points, generates it, Gesture on half hit points. Imagine if the damage on Bdosin went on Gesture. Imagine the different world we'd be living in. Instead, no kills come through. You got a Hanzo and Widow uncontested on the high ground. Look at them. Look at them. Right? This is why people might start shipping Widow and Hanzo, and that kills me inside, because look how good they look together. Like, look how fucking dramatic and action-packed this shot looks of two snipers just literally stood still, shooting targets. Look at how Gesture has somehow ended up on the high ground because of a Reinhardt charge or something. I don't know. He's got up here somehow. But yeah, like this is ridiculous. Widow Hanzo, the darkest timeline. Indeed. There's nothing they can do. Nothing they can do to stop. And the crucial thing here, Prophet has an ult. Nuss has an ult. Bdosin has an ult. Who doesn't have an ult? Hotbar. Hotbar does not have an ultimate. The person who's meant to be getting the ultimate first does not get it. Does not get it. Here's the team split, so Moira's healing was effective with half, and the team was not moving together. Yeah, like, it's a good point, and it's just overall lends even more credence to the fact that it felt like Philly didn't know who they were going to fight here. Right? It feels like Philly didn't know where they were focusing. Because if everyone just hit Gesture, Gesture would explode. If everyone just hits the Roadhog, Bdosin might explode. You definitely don't need to send both both Carpe and Sado to go and push out Bdosin. You don't need both of them to do it. You just need one of them to do it. Okay, so Carpe gets hooked in, and then like Carpe could probably just focus on stalling up Bdosin. Like Birdring's even on the low ground here, manages to grapple away, but it just like Moira is just healing one person as well. So yeah, Arrow's absolutely correct on that. Like Hotbar not getting an ult here is shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Wanzo sounds really bad. Probably better than Hando. So Hando sounds like an Australian term for something you do as an independent individual late at night. You give yourself a Hando. Okay, right. So they're going to try it again, but the crucial thing here is, well, Goats, remember talking about power spikes? Right, you have the 2 power spikes. Well, London have seized on their power spike earlier. They've got their ults. So everyone's just going to run in here, and one of the necessities of Goats is that you move as a big, focused, tight unit. Guess what Ultimate freaking loves big groups of people. And again, you see the same confusion end up happening. Dragon Strike comes through, they all run back, they all run forward, they don't know where they're going, they don't know what they're doing, they all die. It's not complex what's happening here. The Dragon Spider sounds better. I'm gonna call that ship the Season 11 meta. Season 10, Season 11 meta. Yeah, Dragon Spider sounds better at least. And the thing is, like, every single time Philly are gonna try pushing in, like, okay, well, you've used Dragon Strike. Okay, well, that's that resource gone. Now they're gonna be pushing it into perhaps Whole Hog plus Bongo, which is, again, really dangerous for Goats. At least they have some support ultimates to go on. Mr. X highlights a really good point here, which is that Philly do have at least a solid win condition in the Graviton Surge. Because London, the way that London's been playing and moving is they've actually been playing pretty tight with each other. They've been playing pretty close together, which is dangerous, right? And EQO can build up a Graviton Surge, and there's no Zenyatta, there's no anything to stop him. As long as he doesn't feed it to Fury, it's okay. So they can focus on playing around that and try and get that set up. So again, they go through, regenerate barrier, regenerate all that stuff, try and pick out a target. This time they find themselves going from a better angle where they're not getting shot to shit. They have the Moira ult. I like what Sado does here. Wouldn't mind seeing the Bongo come out from Gesture while this is all happening, but Sado basically just lets himself ride the wave. You generally try and do this as much as possible. Ride the wave, gets himself around the side. Shadow stops the whole hog, creates a bit of an opening space. All good stuff. Connects to charge. Like, Sado can play independently. This is one of the advantages of Goats, is that your Reinhardt can kind of do this more independent stuff, because you're mostly with tanks and supports, right? So that's already very difficult to kill, so it only gets harder when you know, sorry, it doesn't get that much easier when the Reinhardt moves away. So Sado can just go on a flank, set up himself a good Earth Shatter. So now we actually have a proper fight where EQO can get involved. Like I mentioned before, Zarya's against the Orisas. You generally see the Zarya get starved out a bit. Now EQO is actually fighting properly, can actually kill targets, and especially now that the Orisa's dead, he can shoot things and still shoot things. This was the most beautiful comic timing I've seen in the Overwatch League camera work. Because when I was sat on the floor, you can't hear the commentators too well when you're sat on the floor. So you're watching this and it's like, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Okay. Poco goes up. Poco goes up, pressures Prophet out. Prophet bounces round. Poco takes a bunch of damage and then drops the bomb here. And you're like, why are they standing there? Like, my brain was just like, why are they stood here? Why are they just stood here? And then the camera flips, and you go, oh, oh, yeah. Perfect. Perfect. It was soul-shattering loud there on day one. It was great. If you were in the audience, Drew, like, the atmosphere felt so good. I don't know if you felt the same as well, but it felt really positive, really, like, community-oriented, really, really nice. It was great. You couldn't hear the casters, but the crowd made it worth it. Like, I was sat right in the middle, and it was so good hearing the noise and the shouting. And it was phenomenal. Like, it was the best of the Overwatch community. Like, it had that atmosphere to it. Everyone was just having a good time. Everyone was shouting. Tons of people like going, "Nice hat, man! Good luck, man! Good luck, and good luck to Spitfire," stuff like that. Even though they're mostly Philly fans, everyone was super positive. Okay. So, Philly, I'm now moving into the next point. So, a couple of things that are super interesting. Bedosin on the Ana, I think, is fascinating. I'm still not sold on it, but, it's the best team in the world at the moment. Who am I to argue with their logic? Like, it does have some value to it, but I think against GOATs, I don't know. I don't know. But Bedosin seems to really like it, so whatever. I will trust in the expert player. But yeah, Philly are in a difficult position because they basically had to use all their ultimates to win that first point. You generally want to have something of a snowball going into second, but they're basically going in on even footing, right? They're running into a Dragon Strike. They have Sound Barrier, which is kind of like one of the weakest ultimates in the game at the moment. So this is tough. I'm going to try for it anyway. I love the swap to the Pharah. Absolutely love the swap to the Pharah. Again, puts a timer onto Goat's comp. Makes it very difficult for them to do anything. So, like, Birdring's already on 60% ultimate charge. It's just going to keep on building. Like, nothing can stop Birdring, and so he's just going to shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. Turn Mitch down a little bit. He's just going to be shooting away. I remember I was sat with Ryan in the audience, and I was like, ooh. And I was like, no, it is a good shatter. Just in terms of, like, pure theory. I still give it an ooh of just, like, there's nobody here, Sado. You've turned around and shattered thin air. It is good in the fact that it gets inside the bubble and out slow. He's basically hit, like, all of this and all of this. Like, the only area he hasn't hit is between these two. But it's still, like, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. Notice that this is the issue with GOATs. DPS isn't enough to start turning this stuff into kills. Given this comp is so reliant on lots of heals, maybe the goal is to anti-heal them. The issue with anti-healing them is, sure, it can kind of work, but the issue with GOATs is that, like, all the tanks have survivability tools generally. They'll all find ways to survive. So if you get an anti-heal, like, Moira can fade, Lucio can speed boost out, Zarya can bubble, Reinhardt can barrier. Like, you don't get enough out of the anti-heal to actually warrant that. I'd rather see, like, a Discord Orb and the damage coming out. I think Sleep Dart is actually the bigger deal here. Because a lot of the stuff in GOATs, like, it's very easy to Sleep Dart any of these tanks and then put them out for a little while, and then you can turn that into more resources elsewhere. Stuff like Nano Boost isn't really going to be a big deal because they have 3 support ultimates generally. So I don't think the anti-heal is, like, a big factor here. They do use it quite well, and they do use the, like, especially with this Mei, we'll see this coming up later. I think the Mei pick here is actually really strong against GOATs. Because GOATs struggles with killing things quickly. Okay, they have a Tracer now to help doing that, but GOATs doesn't kill things fast. And if you can't kill a Mei quickly, she's just going to hang around forever. So I think the Mei swap here actually really, really, really does them a lot of favors. Nusk gets a crazy res, but again, he has Valkyrie on. There's not enough damage to kill him. It's not going to be enough. And now London can respawn enough. Birdring gets a kill on Sado. Sado drops down. Jess is back alive on point, has Primal Rage. There's not enough here to make this decisive. So it's done. Could you imagine being a coach for a contenders team or a team that wants to go there? I could, but I'd rather keep on doing what I'm doing. I'm more interested in casting overall, I would say, than coaching. I generally use coaching as a way of expanding my game knowledge. Of course, Satan is the master of goat sacrifices. I like that. So what's super interesting now is that Prophet is staying on this Mei. Okay? Prophet stays on the Mei. You see Birdring sort of swap things up. Philly haven't decided to swap things up just yet. You're going to see why this Mei is so good. Because Mei counters actually very, very few heroes when played right. When played at the highest level, Mei doesn't do a huge amount. Let's just get a picture of Satan on the screen. There we go. All right, let's talk about Mei. Okay, Mei is surprisingly, I'd say, not very strong against a lot of heroes that you think she was strong against. So stuff like, Genji often gets cited. I really disagree with the idea that Mei counters Genji, or Mei prevents Genji from doing much, because Genji can just stay on high ground, he can snipe away. She limits his effectiveness, but not in the same, like Soldier would do the same by just shooting him a lot. McCree would do the same with a flashbang. She doesn't have that same value because you could just stay out of range and just throw shurikens. The only time you need to be in range, you generally get in and out so quickly that it doesn't matter. Hey, thank you, Shogun Salazar.
Yay,
it's good to be back.
The London Spitfire, and yay, my favourite streamer is back.
I love how drunk she sounds. Just this weird woman. Right? So I don't actually think she does well against Genji. I think that post-buffs with the changes to her right-clicks, like she will probably actually do a lot better against snipers. I think she actually does okay against Tracer, believe it or not, because the right-click is so dangerous and so huge that it basically is similar to Hanzo. Tracer won't be able to kill her very easily with all the cooldowns, and she's actually a very good threat to the Tracer because one headshot and you're done. And it's very easy to land headshots with Mei at close range. So that's actually something to keep in mind. The person that Mei's really, 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 really good against, though, two characters I'd say in particular, are tanks, Rhine and Orisa. And you know this if you played either of these heroes against a Mei, because what happens is you start moving through a choke point, Mei throws a wall up, and you die. Right? That's the value Mei brings. So if you're running Goat's comp, and you're running it built around a Reinhardt pushing in, and something immobile as well, like a Zarya, the Mei causes you so many problems. You're going to see Prophet just play very patiently. He's not. Notice that Prophet isn't spamming up these walls. They're waiting for something. They're waiting for this combo. And they let Reinhardt, like Sado, badly overextend here. The wall is perfect. Gesture forms part of the wall, blocks him off. Sado dies. Anti-heal also actually hits as well. It's easier to see in the overhead. The anti-heal grenade actually hits him as well. But I don't think it would have mattered too much. And now Mei has Blizzard. Blizzard's very good ultimate. So yeah. Mei versus Brig Zen. Zen shouldn't be far forward enough that Mei has any interaction with him. Brigitte, probably you could trap her out quite a bit, but Brigitte has a lot of survivability tools. I think it could work though. Notice that Sado has swapped off Reinhardt. There we go. You can see it much easier on the overhead. Alright, Prophet, very patient, very, very patient. Nano Boost goes in. Wall is perfect, comes up. Notice that Gesture positions himself to be part of the wall. Anti-heal even comes in as well. And Sado just dies. Okay, Prophet now swaps up because the enemy team is swapping to snipers. You don't really want to play Mei into a double sniper comp. Like, as much as they say that Mei can be a pest for Widowmaker and Hanzo to deal with, it's still probably not the best idea in the world. Like, the Genji, I'm more than fine with seeing. And with the agility that their team comp now has, you don't really want to be playing Mei into that. So, a lot of swaps coming up. Very interesting little bomb comes out here that I'm still not 100% sure on the trigger of. Gesture goes in, Fury throws a bomb in, and Fusion just kind of run. I think Sado manages to block it. Like, it looks like the bomb detonated about here as well. Like, if it detonated here, then sure, but it feels like a bomb landed a bit short. Fusion just waited it out. It's not really any impact on this fight. But what's nice from London is that they are playing a dive comp into double sniper. They do not give an inch. They do not wait a single moment, right? They are going to dive. Like, they're playing dive. They will play dive. There's none of this passive waiting shit, none of this passive letting the Hanzo or letting the Widowmaker get some sightlines. They're going all the way to spawn. They are pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. They are not letting them take anything for granted. And I love that about London. This feels like the London that we saw a lot in Stage 1 or Stage 2. This is the London that like retakes on Numbani consistently at like 80%, 95%, right? This is that London. I need to fix my webcam slightly. Right, this is that London that does that reliably and so consistently and so elegantly so often. Because it feels like we haven't seen that London for a while. And it's good to see it again. So you're going to see Prophet do a lot here, but the main thing I want to focus on here is that you're going to see Birdring do some really cool stuff here. So again, like notice how close they're holding, notice that they're not letting these Widows set up. Dragon Strike comes through, okay, that's going to cover another dive. Dragon Blade comes out. Doesn't work out, but honestly, they're already kind of doing enough here. Like they've already got rid of Poco, which is kind of a nice kill. Something does happen here that's kind of important, which is that Fury goes a bit insane and tries to kill Carpe, who gets supported. So support comes onto Carpe at just the right time. Carpe gets saved. Fury ends up overextending a little bit. But during all of this, Birdring is not contested. So Birdring actually collects 2 kills. And this is why this fight looks so weird, because we're seeing it mostly from like the overhead and mostly from Philly's perspective. We're seeing like mostly what's happening with Philly. We're not appreciating the fact that, okay, well, they lost Prophet, they lost Fury, but Birdring's just going to kill 2 people now. And so it looks really bad on the kill feed, because like the Diva kill feed pops up and the Mercy kill feed changes it all up and makes it look really weird. It makes it look like Philly are just dominating. Actually, it's pretty even. What's really important is that Neptuno's just used his res on Poco, and Hotbar's died with Transcendence. But Ocean still has his. But Ocean's still good. And so it's like the kill feed here is really misleading, and I think this is why Neptuno Valks, because the Valkyrie comes out and it's like, oh yeah, let's go. Oh wait, one of our main DPS is dead. Widowmaker on her own is not going to be enough when when at least Gesture is still alive and harassing, and Prophet can still pressure. So the Widowmaker is going to be mostly nullified. There's actually no real opening here. Right? The kill feed has like misled them. It's actually tricked them into thinking, well, kill feed's filled up with white. We managed to kill off the Diva. I managed to do all this. Carpe ends up isolated on this weird flank. Like he's sort of stuck in the backline here. No one's slowing Birdring down. Like they've managed to bounce him back, but they can't actually push into this. This Valkyrie is going to come back to haunt them in a big, big way. Really big way. Because London, again, not going to give them an inch. They are going to push all the way out. And London know their victory condition here. They haven't seen Hotbar use the Transcendence. Okay? They haven't seen Hotbar use this. They know that Hotbar has this. They know that Hotbar has that trance. So they know that if they can bully Hotbar, if they can dive Hotbar and force the trance, then they're going to have one. 20 seconds left, 15 seconds left. They're going to be dashing onto the point. They're not going to have a Transcendence. That's really good. That's a position they want to be in. So you're going to see, right, straight away, Fury, Nas, Gesture, all dive in, Hotbar, ults. This is where the game is lost. Because if Hotbar didn't ult here, like, and what I want to highlight is Neptuno used the Valkyrie in the previous fight. If he still had Valkyrie, he could conceivably Valk and get a res here, right? You Valk, you have the Diva cover, you might even use the Diva bomb to cover it, you res Hotbar. Or, you know, Hotbar dies, you res him, then you re-engage. You might even get some good damage on these tanks because they're so far out of position. Because Neptuno doesn't have that Valkyrie, Hotbar has to Transcendence this. There's no guarantee that the res goes through. Maybe they can get away with it with a Diva bomb. But to survive this dive, he trances. This could be inexperience, this could just be panic, this could be pressure. Either way, Hotbar trances. London know they're in a super good position. They're just going to back out, pull back towards the point, because they have a Transcendence. So Sado has to like jump onto the point. He's getting drilled down, he's got a Discord Orb on him, he's got a Hanzo shooting him, he's going to take a ton of damage. Bomb goes up. During all of this, Bedosin still has Transcendence, so now Trance comes out. Half the team of Philly are already dead. Like, there's no good way of winning this. like, so you can see from that how the previous fight dictated the loss in the next fight. Okay? The use of Valkyrie in the previous fight dictated the loss in the upcoming fight. And I think that's a really big deal and kind of very easy to miss, but that's sort of how I saw it go.
So once again, for the Philadelphia, them to be immovable objects on defense. They
Okay.
didn't quite finish the map. They did take point A.
So London know now.
Let's say,
Why do you think they chose Hotbar over Boombox? I think it's because they wanted to run this on defense. And they want Hotbar's Roadhog. They want Hotbar's off tank more than Boombox's Zen. Which I think is a bit of an iffy choice. So London run a really interesting comp here. Okay? They run the Ana Genji. You're going to see sort of, they run out, they check, they look, oh look. They're going to change up to Ana Genji. I saw Arrow talking about this, which is I think he's absolutely correct in how he phrased it, which is that if you're going to run this team comp, Genji with Nano Blade or Damage Boost can absolutely kill tanks. But there's a caveat to that. You have to force the tank to use the cooldowns. You cannot Nano Blade and then run into a tank with Take a Breather or with Fortify. You have to abuse their cooldowns. You have to force them out somehow. That gives you a victory condition. Even then, you're still probably only going to kill 1 or 2 people. You're not going to get a big team wipe off the back of it. The reason why is because they're running Widow Hanzo, so that Widow's going to be over here, Hanzo's going to be over here, Mercy's going to be bouncing between them, might even Valkyrie when you Nano Blades to just get away. So it's going to be very hard to kill the Mercy. So that makes things very difficult to get some good results at the back of this. So sure, London might be thinking, well, we'll put them on a time limit, so what we'll do is we'll play Nano Blade and we'll just throw Nano Blades at them until we win. It doesn't end up going that way. So they're going to be playing towards this Dragon Blade. I would honestly rather see like a Zarya comp. Here's to me like the case in point of like, okay, well, you know, they go in, they get the anti-heal, and they dive Sado straight away, put a lot of pressure on that. Still bought enough space for Carpe to get a kill though. So there we go. 2 teams confirmed from Overwatch League. Seems to be the thing going around that Paris and like Guangzhou or something, I don't know how to pronounce it, another Chinese team coming in. And so it's like, sure they get one, but all the pressure, all the dive going in on Sado means that Carpe and EQO are basically free. Carpe's uncontested. Look at this shot. It's like Nuss is trying to like do the what I call like a duck walk, like the crouch walking. It doesn't work for them. It just gets his head blown off. Feels bad, man. Guangzhou.
2 minutes and 50 seconds. That's what the Spitfire have to work with. There's plenty of time, and they're wasting no time.
I don't know if you guys saw the numbers for China's PUBG viewership, but it's crazy. I think Overwatch League wants some of that Chinese Skrilla. Right. Okay, it's almost go time for London. Sado's used Fortify by the looks of things. Alright, Fortify a go. Yeah, Sado's used it. No, that's a very shiny Orisa. I believe that's shinier than normal. It's difficult to tell with the skin's on. Gets his ult, backs off. But this is where you have to have the presence of mind to go, hang on. It might be off cooldown a little bit, and Halt's still off cooldown, so... Well, now it's off cooldown, getting healed. Wop wop. To quite a Republican meme, I guess. Though I was doing it before then anyway, because whatever. Anyway, ugh. Goddamn Republicans stealing our memes. It's Neptuno does something very, very good here. Guang Xiao, but with more. Okay, yeah, I've been trying to cast Chinese contenders and like I can't. Xiao, Guang Xiao, I guess. I'm British. I can't do it properly. I'm sorry. I'm sure I'll learn. Overwatch League will have an official thing for it. But yeah, Neptuno like goes huge here, and this is sort of really cool to see out of Neptuno. I highlight this in the Pro Overanalyze as well. Neptuno as a Mercy realizes that he's not just going nuts. He's not just like chasing people. He's spotting people on like 40, 50 hit points. Basically anything up to, I'd say, 60 hit points. He's spotting those out and going, I'm very mobile, very agile, and very survivable. I just need to land like a shot in the melee. That's kind of what he does here. Shoot, melee, shoot, done. And because he's so agile, he spots out, okay, It surprised me a little bit that he doesn't go for the res here. We can't see the cooldowns, but it looks like it's off. Like, come on, res Carpe. But it might be a little bit too risky. There's a lot of people there. I trust his knowledge. And then he spots Nuss, and it's like, oh, look, 50 hit points. I can kill that. Pop. Done. That's all he needs to do. He's not chasing people like crazy, right? He's not doing insane things. He's just going, he's just looking for those opportunities, looking for the people that are low and finishing them off. Because he knows that as the Mercy with Valkyrie, he can dive deeper. He can go further. So he pushes that. He plays it like a Winston with Primal Rage, and I like that. So London changed things up. London want to try push in. They put a Dragon Strike across it, slows it down. Bongo gets used by Philly, perhaps a touch early here. Like the Dragon pushes them back, and the Bongo tries to find the extra damage, but London just walked back. How do you think the non-NA regions will handle scrims when they all go to the respective cities? There'll be something figured out there. So Hopper, pretty good player, turns out. Right, this is just what you want out of your Roadhog. This happens sometimes. Managed to get the Mercy. Okay, pressure is now on. But yeah, I imagine also by the time that teams localize, like Nate Nuns is saying, like, you know, that's 2020 sort of talk when localization starts happening. There might be more European teams as well. Why don't any of the other Mercy players do this? Just protection, safety. Maybe they don't have the confidence to do it. Some of them just, like, a lot of Mercy players, I imagine, are also very aware that their survivability is super important, so they just play it very carefully. I think Neptuno has also just trained himself to look for those opportunities a lot better than other Mercies. Okay. A lot of important stuff happens there, and it's like how to figure out this, because this fight is crazy, so we're going to run it at half speed while we talk through it, because why not? The first thing that happens is a kill actually goes on to Prophet here, I believe. So yeah, Carpe gets Prophet. Dragon Strike's already coming out, but it basically covers the corpse of Prophet, so Prophet cannot be rezzed here. Right, there's Prophet's body right there. So they can't res this. Like, they want to res this, Nuss wants to res this, and Fusion want to make sure that they cannot do that. But they use the Diva Bomb quite correctly. I mean, this is nothing new, this is nothing special. Diva Bomb comes in, up and over, clears space for the res. Nuss managed to get the res off. So London playing very effectively. Like, they're playing to what I would call like a check mark, like lists. Okay, to win this fight, we have 20 seconds, we've got to win this fight. To win this fight, we need to get Prophet back up. How do we do that? Well, we use a Diva Bomb to clear the space. Nuss can then get in and res it. So that's step one. Okay? Step one happens. Res comes through. Prophet's back. Good. Even better, they get a kill on Neptuno. A little bit lucky with that one. And demech Poco. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Perhaps really overextending a little bit. Maybe overpressuring. Or maybe not pressuring enough, honestly. Like, it sounds like a weird thing to say, but I think if Philly committed, instead of like running back, if Philly ran in, they'll probably have a better time of it here. You know, they have infrasight, they can see where the bomb's going, but they all run backwards. If they all ran forwards, I think they'd actually win this. So yeah, Poco gets demeched. I think Gesture might have got him with a halt there. That's a really big kill. And it's like, okay, well, this fight started on Prophet dying. And now what's happened is everyone in Philly have split, right? And that doesn't work against this comp. Because, well, who can Roadhog kill on this team? Realistically. Well, Nuss, obviously. Sure, Roadhog can kill him. Can't really kill Badosin in good time. Birdring's going to be nowhere near him, so it's going to be tough, like, unless Birdring falls into him. He can't really kill Gesture, because Gesture will just fortify and be okay for a little while. Prophet, again, not going to be near him. Can't really kill Fury. Fury just rockets away. So this lone hotbar on the side here, it's not going to really do anything. Like, the targets he's got in his sights, well, he hooks Fury. Fury's just going to fuck off. Nuss goes down. These are tanks, it's not the biggest deal, and a training EQO for that is huge. And now you've got this big tanky core on the point that you can't dislodge. Everyone's dead, everyone's displaced. I love hearing cast in slow motion, by the way. That's why I do it, part of why I do it. Yeah, there's just not enough damage anymore to kill these tanks, to shift these tanks. It doesn't matter that there's no healing, because the tanks are looking after themselves. And now, well, now it's tricky. Because London do have some resources. They have the whole hog, they have the bongo. That's always a nice little combo to get set up with. Big kill. Like, you're looking at this and you're not generally expecting Mercies to die like this. And this is a little bit unfortunate, I think. Like, look at where this shot goes. Look at where this shot actually freaking goes. This is unreal. I call this the penis because it's kind of shaped like a penis. Like, it's shaped like this, and then there's like a box here. Okay, so it's, you know, it's sort of phallic. Oh god. And Neptuno like bounces all the way up, and it looks like the shot lands like right between. Look at that, right between these two little things on the top of it. It's amazing. Instantly, London engaged. Like, they know they have the advantage. They're gonna sprint into this one and go as hard as they can. Ults, dragons, throw the kitchen sink, and then. And this. How would Fusion have been able to hold first point like that? Fusion held first point really well because London were trying to run this Genji shit into them. And then when they finally got the Nano Blade, it just completely whiffed. So, like, that's how they held that first point so well. And, like, I think they could have held first point if they pushed out instead of retreating in when the bomb went off. If they denied the res on Prophet and just went aggro, they could have probably done it. But Poco's pretty good at bombs. They say his D.Va play overall is a little bit shaky, but his bombs, no one's better. Dragon Strike is also good, manages to catch a bunch of people. The issue is, Widowmaker and Hanzo are really good heroes. And so everyone's busy focusing on trying to kill this baby D.Va. But Prophet and Birdring are uncontested. No one focuses on Prophet and Birdring. And they almost win it. They almost win it, just alone. It was insane, right? Because you watch this bomb go off, and then it's just like, you know, it literally is the fucking Dragon Ball Z moment where Prophet, you know, where Goku's like, "You can't believe you did that to Krillin, rah!" It's like, "I can't believe you did that to Nas, rah!" And goes mad and just kills everybody, right? Everyone is looking at Fury. No one is going, "Oh yeah, Prophet's a really good player and still alive." So the Prophet goes in, Widowmaker shot there, Birdring, nails Carpe. Prophet lands some shots onto EQO, catches Neptuno, follows up a kill from Birdring's shot. Mind freaking blown. Mind blown. Arrow's raging that Prophet didn't body block Poco. I think he's correct on that one. Especially because Poco's probably already used boosters to get out of spawn, so he probably doesn't have them yet, so he wouldn't be able to get back on point. So yeah, I think Arrow is very right on pointing that out. I love that Mitch is just going nuts. It's so good. What I want to highlight though is how the tanks... Watch the tanks. Look at the tanks positioning here. Look how scared. Look at him. Look at the little tanks. Oh no. Oh no, Patrick. Oh no, Prophet. No. No. Ah. Like, look at how scared they are. Look at the tanks huddle. Look at them just huddle and hide. It's so funny. Oh god, I love it so much. It's a thing of beauty. It is a thing of beauty. Okay, London want to change things up. They know they have to. Birdring's on the May. No. There is an argument you can make for it. That, like, if you get Blizzard and put it on the point, then maybe, especially when there's only like less than a third, there's like 20% in it. You don't need to hold it for that long. Blizzard might clear it long enough, but I don't think it would work that way. Okay, so we're gonna play musical chairs a little bit. So I'm going to change things up. Okay, Brigitte comes out. Double sniper. Okay, I think EQ is going to swap to the Pharah. Just because there's nothing here that really contests the Pharah. So, okay, EQ can play Pharah here. That's fine. So they're going to start pressuring. Like, it's basically an effective reset. They want to start pushing forward. But EQO, again, can kind of do stuff for free here. I like that Philly play this aggressively, that they don't just like sit on the point, that they actually go and actively like pressure into this tunnel. Really like that. And you can see that Birdring's getting pushed out by EQO, so they have to be very careful. Really nice Sonic arrow placement. But yeah, EQO is just gonna shoot people. Like 72% already. This is what you want out of your Clara. And there we go.
But just think about how close London was to finishing this. You know, 56.4% to 57. It's unreal.
Okay then.
Does earn himself Valkyrie. Valkyrie was
What I like about EQO as well is like resetting all the way back here. He's like keeping an eye on if anything's changing. Prophet does change up. So they ditch the Brigitte, they bring out a Tracer instead. This puts a lot of pressure on Carpe, because now basically Prophet's going to be gunning for Carpe. He can also start pressuring the tanks. Like Tracer does very well against Orisa Hog. You generally want like a Hanzo or something in there. Tracer to counter a Tracer, sure, that works. But if you don't deal with the Tracer, then she's just going to get into your backline and kill everything. Speaking of getting into your backline and killing everything, okay, we've got a big old fight on the point. Bombed by some space. Fighting. Hog, hook, beautiful. Doesn't quite get the kill. EQO gets the barrage. Good enough, honestly. Killing gesture, big deal. They can res that. Whole Hog gets used to clear the space. Big old fight. Still Fury out. Good. Okay. Now, the one saving grace there was that that barrage was always going to be a problem. Okay? Unless, like, Fury could defense matrix it, but you got to trust that EQO isn't going to flub, right? You got to trust that EQO kind of knows what the fuck he's doing. Birdring swaps away, swaps to the McCree. Okay, that gives him tools to sort of control more than anything Hotbar and Poco. And also you can punish the Orisa if you manage to get rid of Fortify. So you can do quite a lot with that. Also, like, a weird little note is that Deadeye is actually really good on this point. Deadeye generally isn't that good overall, but on this point, Deadeye tends to get more results than anywhere else. You just play the McCree in like the central area, you step back a little bit as they come onto the point, you Deadeye. There's very little cover on the point for people to hide behind that feels safe, and so you can generally get a couple kills. Like, all the funnels going into the point generally have like, it's like the point is like this square, and it's like, you know, you have the main path, and it's got like this funnel that you have to sort of step into. So it's not just a simple matter of like running around a wall like this. You can't do that because there's a wall there, so it's kind of tough. Right, the only sort of saving grace is like these spots here on the front of the point, but they're the enemies generally like focusing you down. You get trapped in the corner, you die. So the Deadeye is actually pretty good here. It's also very good for like catching fires and stuff, catching mercies. London realize, okay, this is the final fight. This is why I think this basically the moment that this comes out, this halt, both supports get caught in it, but Dawson just instantly reacts by trancing. Now they start playing aggressively. And then something unique happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. I love 5. There we go. I love Mitch's realization of this. Just
with a fusion, and Carpe wasn't far behind. Prophet with 3. He's killed 4 players now on his own. And the Spitfire are coming through with this.
Prophet! Like, that is beautiful casting. Just drops everything, just shouts out, Prophet! Killed 3 players, got 4! Like, it's so good. And you can see how happy they are. They will show a replay of that, and it's very important to watch this from Prophet's perspective. I think they show it on the desk. Yeah, it's very hard to understand why that worked without watching the replay. All access pass. Get your Lucio emote. I think I still need to claim mine. Traces is definition of fair amounts. Well, you say that. Okay, so we've got the highlights. There's the bomb. There's the Poco bomb. Okay. So we've got the Prophet play. So, this is Prophet's perspective. And I'm so curious about how Carpe managed not to scout Prophet. He just doesn't see him coming in. He's too busy, like everybody else. Neptuno takes half damage. Okay, he's got Neptuno in his sights. What I want you guys to notice, and why this works, is because nobody looks at Prophet. Neptuno goes down. EQO kind of spots it out. Gets a little bit lucky with the recall. Basically appears right behind Carpe. So it just gets him in a single clip. Carpe doesn't even have time to turn around or react. hotbar. No one's looking at him. Nobody's looking at him. Bomb ends up working out. Again, a little bit lucky. There's no, like, take a breather, nothing like that. Because all the cooldowns have been burned. All the team is occupying all this attention. The only person that seems to even shoot him is Sado. And the thing as well that's happening is that Bedosian's used that Transcendence, is now run onto the point. So now Prophet has this space that is, he has a safe space, right? He's like a college campus. He's completely safe. No one's going to counteract his opinions. No one's going to stop him from doing what he wants here. So he's totally safe here. It's like Valkyrie, there was a Transcendence going for a while. He can do what he wants. That was a very political sign in the... Was it the Abolish Ice one? Because I remember seeing that in person. Yeah, so yeah, it was surprising that one was let in. They generally try and avoid that stuff, especially because it's going out on like Disney, but whatever. I don't think many people in America genuinely like Ice. Especially how it's sort of being run. Yeah, man, like that play was... To me, that play was the epitome of occupying attention. Okay? That was the epitome of, okay, we're going to pull all the attention away, and Prophet was just allowed to do what he wants. And this is sort of the danger of having two star players like Prophet and Birdring. Like, this was the DPS combo everybody was kind of looking at when Overwatch League started, and this is the reason why. You need to neutralize both of them. If you don't, then they're both going to destroy you. And I think Prophet overall had a quieter regular season, but really in the playoffs, just they funneled resources into him. He came to life and he destroyed people. Can you play at full speed? Yes. So this is what it looks like at regular speed. And again, just notice that no one pays attention to it. No one seems to react to Prophet. Like, he even fires a shot there, and it's like, gets one, gets Carpe, two. No one's doing anything about him. But Gesture's diving in deep, taking up all the attention there. Birdring's pressuring on the front. They're trying to, like, lock out what Fury's trying to do. They're trying to find targets, and it just... Yeah, it's pretty cool. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, just for ease of use on the VOD, and then we're going to get started on day number 2. It's wonderful and humid here, but New York was sweaty. Jesus, everyone was just like, you step outside and it's like stepping into a sauna. It was horrible. The final day was lovely and sunshiny. My sunburn's mostly gone away. Like, my hands are no longer red, which is good. I don't believe I have slight skin cancer or anything. I don't really have a tan. I don't tan. I think my face is still a little bit red. My forehead's been like peeling. Just lovely information for you guys. It's actually been pretty good. It hasn't been too bad. But yeah. Okay. We'll move to day 2. Day 2, very different game. And it feels like Philly really took the day 1 losses to heart. But you saw it from this VOD. It's not that huge. Like, the lead isn't that big. How Burnt Finger? Burnt Finger is okay. Like, the skin on it really did peel. It's going to be difficult to see. But the skin on this is very smooth. It's very nice now. Is it better to bomb in order to remake quickly or use a bomb in retaliation response to 3k in the feed? The better example of the situation of case-by-case ordeal. It's going to always be case-by-case. Like, and I think the mentality of, oh, well, they kill 3 of our players with a bomb, I need to kill 3 of theirs with my bomb, is going to just make you look foolish. Like, the sensible thing to do more often than not is you just let that fight go, and then you just bomb them next fight, and then you have an advantage. You don't just try and go, you know, it's the mentality of, well, there's Area grabbed and killed half our team. I'm going to grab and try and kill half their team. Oh, wait, I only have half my team. Like, that kind of retaliatory thinking is going to get you in trouble. I think more so than the losses, the thing that made Philly feel worse was the press conferences afterwards. I don't know what happened to Philly, man. They just imploded. They just died. It makes me sad. Right, 5-minute break. We'll be back in a moment or two. So I'm going to refill my drink, go refill yours, put your feet up, get ready. Can I just go like here? Right, yep, BRB, where's my music?